Community College Board of Education meeting now into order. Nicole, will you please call the roll?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin Alltucker here.
Austin Polnay?
Here.
Amelia Hampton?
Here.
Jesse Maldonado?
He's still logging on.
Steve Natal?
Here.
Zach Mulholland?
Here.
Jerry Rust?
Here.
And Julie Wiesner?
Here.
Excellent. We'll now move on to the land recognition. Jerry Rust will be reading the land acknowledgement and will be the speaker for this today. Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to start our meeting with the acknowledgement that the land we are on is the traditional homeland of the Kalapuya people. The Kalapuya were stewards of this very land for over 14,000 years before their traditional way of life was forever disrupted. We start our meeting with humility and reverence for the original inhabitants, the Kalapuya.
Thank you. Before we go into adoption of agenda, I just want, for the record, Jesse has joined the meeting. We have full attendance. In regards to the agenda, we do need to add an action item C. Action item C, which is, give me 1 second here to get the title. Resolution for former censure to be added to the agenda item. If I get a motion in a second, that can be then added to the agenda.
I'll move to add the item, the censure item to action C.
Thank you. Do we have a second? All right, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Any abstention? Seeing none, we'll move on to the equity lens. The equity lens is part of our agenda because we look for ways to remind ourselves of equity and inclusion as we adopt policies, discuss policies, and look at ways that these actions can either create barriers for more equitable outcomes, and also what are the marginalized communities impacted. I always ask our board to review those each and every meeting because it's really important that we approach all things with equity lens. We'll now move on to responses to information requests. Is there any responses, questions, or comments in regards to information requests? And Jerry, if you wouldn't mind helping with any hands and calling upon them.
Okay, we're gonna use this signal. If you want to talk, put your name card up like this.
Appreciate that. Are there any comments, questions in regards to information requests?
No.
If not, we'll move on to comments from the board, from board members. Under the section, I believe Zach Mulholland would like to make a statement. And after that statement, we will then move on to other board statements. And then we will conclude with a statement from the board.
Thank you.
Zach?
I have 3 statements I'd like to read, please. First, President Bulger, I apologize for my harsh use of language during our leadership team meeting. President Bulger, I apologize for my harsh use of language during our leadership team meeting and for lack of proper consideration during our March board meeting. I allowed my emotions to get the better of me, and I am sorry. I'm sorry. I appreciate the work that you do for the college, and I want to do what I can to help you be successful. I will do everything that I can to work with you collaboratively, in a collaborative way, and I hope that we can work together to create a positive working relationship moving forward. To the individuals named in the report, I apologize. I have sent each of you an individual letter of apology that you should have received or be receiving shortly. To the broader campus community, I apologize that I allowed my frustrations to get the better of me and that my actions created this unfortunate distraction from the important work of the college. I am sorry that I let you down, and I will try to learn from this experience and do better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other board comments at this time? Looks like we have Kevin.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Zach. For those of you who've read the investigation report, you know that it focused primarily on 2 individuals, but it should not go unnoticed that the entire board, except for Julie Waisman, was also implicated. So I'm taking this time tonight to say to President Bolger regarding that March 5th meeting that, yep, I blew it. I was complicit in my behaviors and I didn't say anything when I should have spoken up about the discussion that was happening. And, these are things that I have studied, I've written about, I've researched about, and I kick myself for not saying something. So I want to say that. And I'm committed to being a better board member. And I'm looking forward to receiving additional education and training and awareness of how I, as a mid-aged cisgendered white male, can do a better job. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
I had my,
Julie, and
Go ahead, Julie.
Steve.
I appreciate the apologies from Zach Mulholland. However, they weren't really, full apologies. They're still centering on emotions got the best of him, not really acknowledging the behavior directly. And those of us who know what an apology looks like, it usually is recognizing the harm that was caused over there, my part that I played in it, what I'm going to do about it in the future, and those accountability measures weren't really represented in the apologies that were given. As a board, we require this as part of the process of the investigation. This was part of the results, was that apologies and public statements had to be made. As a board member, I find them wanting and don't believe that they fully admit accountability and their part to play in it, other than, quote, emotions got the best of me. So I still feel that that needs to be shored up. As a board member, I feel like we really do need to hold Mr. Mulholland more accountable than what I believe to be a fairly weak apology. Thank you.
Steve.
Steve. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
Like Kevin, I also was, implicated in the March 5th meeting and the subsequent investigation bore that out. I have, this is really for the benefit of the public at this point in time, because I want you to know that I immediately apologized to President Bolger and sought out an opportunity to hear directly so that I could learn. And I want you to know that because this is a public setting and it's important that you understand that board members who were implicated are taking their actions and responsibilities seriously. And like Kevin, I am embarrassed and I feel badly about my participation to the extent that I feel badly about my participation, and like other members of the board who've spoken, I too am committed to learning and doing better.
Excellent. Any further comments? With that, I would like to read a statement on behalf of the Board of Education. On behalf of the Board of Education, we are issuing this formal an unequivocal apology to Dr. Bulger for discriminatory actions based on sex and race that have taken place, and we further apologize for your experience. We are accountable to these failures, and we're profoundly sorry. I think we can humble ourselves as board members to not only to state that it's not only students who can learn from their experiences here at Lane Community College. We as board members can also learn and grow and become better because of it. We live in a sexist and racist world. And I believe every board member and everybody here in this room believe that through education, we can make a more just and equitable world. This is why we are taking remedial actions, such as participation in training in bias, discrimination, and harassment training, as the board members have stated. But along those same lines, we're taking other remedial actions, which is outlined in section 7A in today's agenda under the complaint investigation conclusions. Additionally, we will be taking additional actions under section C in the action items. We will ensure that every policy and practice reflects our commitment to equity and respect. We want to also thank our community for holding us accountable. We are listening, and we are ready to do the hard work required to become a district that truly serves everyone and respects everyone. As an individual board member, I want to share with my board members an apology to President Bulger for what has occurred and what has happened. I'm just sincerely sorry for what you've experienced, and we can all do better, and we can all learn, and we can all grow because of this. I appreciate everyone who participated in this investigatory process, and once again, thank you to the community for holding this board responsible. Moving on to public comment.
Excuse me, Chair?
Oh yes, my apologies, Julie, go ahead.
I just wanted the record to show that that's the first time I've heard the quote-unquote board apology, and I don't stand with it. There's a lot more that could have been said, and I'll speak more on that in action item C, but I just want the record to reflect that I didn't participate in that board apology, and it would have been a lot more thoughtful and mindful to the people who were affected. Thank you.
Steve?
Also find myself surprised by this portion of the meeting. We had not agreed or seen the statement that was just read by our chair. Normally when the chair speaks on behalf of the board, it's with the consent of the board, and I am surprised and blindsided by this.
Okay.
All right. We will now move on to public comment. In public comment, the board may not respond directly to any issues raised during public comment. We refer those issues to the president for appropriate action. And one thing I want to just mention in regards to public comment, that there is time periods where we want to applaud or want to show support for those who are speaking. Unfortunately, this does negatively impact decorum and also impacts the amount of time we have for public comment. So with that, if you're able to do the ASL applause, that is more appropriate to show your support while also keeping decorum. With that in mind, Nicole, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? We traditionally start with students and go from there. Nicole.
Hello, yes, we do have those signed up for public comment.
Excellent.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Oh, yes.
How many folks do we have signed up tonight?
Yeah, Nicole, would you be able to tell us how many have signed up for public comment?
We have close to 50.
50. Kevin, did you have another comment? Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would make a suggestion, as we've done in the past, to limit time to 2 minutes per individual.
Excellent. Do we have, go ahead.
We have a board policy we updated, I believe, in the spring related to this. Can we, is it 90 seconds or 2 minutes that it gets reduced to if we have more than 20
2
people?
minutes.
It's reduced to 2 minutes if we have more than 20. Yep, correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. That being said, I would like for us to reconsider that because this is an important topic, and I would love for individuals to have their 3 minutes to be able to speak. I know that's time consuming, but at the same time, I would love for us to give that opportunity and just want to advocate briefly for that. But if the board desires to go ahead and follow the 2 minutes, I'm more than happy to accept that. I just want to advocate for the full 3 minutes for the people.
Us,
Yep, go ahead.
just doing the math, that's over 2.5 hours.
Totally.
I'd like to encourage people to do the 2 minute. and
Excellent.
Make your thoughts succinct, go right for the point, and you can do it.
Excellent. We will go forward with 2 minutes then. Nicole, will you call the first speakers, please?
Yes, thank you. The first 3 speakers we have are online. We have Amanda Fallon, Devin Lawson, and Mike Eister.
She can speak. Oh, Devin's not online.
Okay, there I am. Good evening. My name is Amanda Fallon, and I am the Vice President of the Student Government Association here at LCC. I'm speaking to you this evening about accountability. We hold our students to the highest standards of conduct. This is a safe campus for all, and when there's misconduct, the student is disciplined, or the offender. Give me just a second, I need to scroll. Let me rephrase that. Sorry. Not going good. At LCC, we hold our students and all members of our campus to the highest standards of conduct. This is and must remain a safe campus to everybody. When misconduct occurs, it is taken seriously. Disciplinary action is enforced. Let me be clear, the school is a safe place for students and all people on this campus. And we pride ourselves in fostering welcoming environments for all, but when somebody is bullied, harassed, intimidated, or made to feel unsafe physically or emotionally, that sense is compromised. It is the board's duty to amend their policies. Hang on. For actionable accountability, I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties, I'm not in town. Everyone is entitled to their views and beliefs. However, no one is entitled to use those views and beliefs to make other people feel uncomfortable, diminished, violated, or unsafe. Power and influence must never be used to undermine the dignity of others. LCC must continue to be a place where everybody feels safe and respected, and begin with accountability, real and meaningful accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.
I believe Devin is our next speaker. Is that right, Nicole?
Correct.
Excellent. Devin, go ahead.
First, I wanted to take a moment to thank the entire board, Julie Wiesman, Steve Maital, Kevin Altucker, President Bulger, Jerry Russ, Jesse Maldonado, Austin Fulnegi, and Zach Mulholland. Your service on this board has been extremely helpful to my fellow students, and we are very grateful. I did also want to take this moment to thank individually Zach Mulholland for his service. While, of course, the community, and I think that we all understand why the community is frustrated, we want to thank you for your service, for what you have done for our community and my fellow students. You have been a progressive catalyst for change when it comes to protecting our climate, and we greatly appreciate you.
Thank you, Devin. Next speaker.
Mike Eister. Online.
We'll wait a moment to bring Mike Eister online.
There he is.
There we are. Thank you for everyone's patience. We're just waiting for unmuting here. There's Mike. Not quite yet. It doesn't look like you're unmuted yet. There we go. You're unmuted, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Board and President Bulger, thank you for the opportunity to testify this evening. My name is Mike Eister. Before moving to Washington last year, I lived in the Eugene Springfield area for 35 years and had the opportunity to serve on and chair many boards, elected, appointed, and volunteer, including the Lane Community College Board of Education. During my board service and my career, I had the opportunity to work with many CEOs. Dr. Bulger is one of the most effective, visionary, and dedicated CEOs I have encountered during my career and my time serving on and chairing boards. Dr. Bulger has been an outstanding president, probably one of the best in the country. No president should have to endure intimidation, harassment, or bullying by any board member, certainly not a board chair. Dr. Bulger deserves the full support of the board. LCC and the community deserve to have Dr. Bulger supported. I urge Zachary Mulholland to resign from the board immediately. I urge the board to appoint a replacement that understands the appropriate role of a board member and the appropriate role of the board overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Nicole, do we list off the next speakers?
Yes, our next three are Steve Wildish, Susan Cox, and Jenny Ulam.
Excellent. Mr. Wildish?
Good evening. Board Chair Fulgenay, President Bulger, board members. I'm Steve Wildish, President of the LCC Foundation. As you know, the LCC Foundation sent you a letter recently asking for you to act on issues found in the investigation conducted by Rebecca Jacobson. Our letter speaks for itself. I'm not here to restate the contents of that letter. Instead, the Foundation's message to you tonight is simple. We are at a crossroad. The Board of Education can either accept the findings of the independent investigator and take appropriate action, or it can choose to downplay the situation and take little to no substantive action. To do the latter is a clear violation of the board's code of ethics and a statement against Lane's zero tolerance policy on all forms of harassment. It would send a chilling message that the board condones behaviors, create an unsafe and hostile environment for the college president and others within the college community. It is board policy for board members to maintain the highest standards of conduct and ethical behavior. This standard extends to everyone within the college community. As our elected leaders, we expect the Board of Education to set the bar for all of us. We need to close this painful chapter and move on. It is time for each of us to aspire to be the best stewards of the college as we can be. Our community and students deserve nothing less. How do we start? It starts by being resolute and united in our commitment to work collaboratively, amicably for the good of the college. And it begins by being respectful to our college president, Dr. Bulger, who has demonstrated exceptional leadership and has earned our full faith and confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker.
Susan Cox.
Good evening. My name is Susan Cox, and I'm a member of the Foundation Board. And I wanted to say that I appreciate tonight the statements made, Kevin, by you, Steve, and by Julie. I'm astonished that the current chair read the letter on behalf of the board, but offered no personal comments of your own, or certainly not a meaningful apology. And I especially think it's meaningful since in the report, it said that you believe that Zach Mulholland was not racist or sexist. I have to say, I expect more from you. I think the community deserves more from you. As a member of the Foundation Board, at each meeting we have the pleasure of meeting students who have had the opportunity to receive a scholarship. And those recipients are inspiring. You can see the difference that that is going to make for them in the future and to their lives. And it's one of the reasons that we're really committed to continuing to support the college. Recently, there was a student that was registering for school, and they said, "I've heard what's going on at the college, and I'm concerned. Will I be welcome here? Will I be welcome here?" That any student would wonder or ponder that is something that we all have to take the responsibility for. And to President Bolger, you are welcome here. And I think that you can see by all the community members who are here in support of you. I hope you understand that from all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next, we have Jenny Ulam, and then we'll be moving to online.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jenny Ulam. I'm a resident of Eugene and an education supporter. I know this is difficult, and I hope my comments are constructive. My intention is to underscore the urgency to make changes and to encourage you to find a better way to work together. I do this, frankly, with little expectation of truly being heard, but it's the only recourse I have when I see a valuable institution under attack by the very people who are elected to support and defend it. Now, I understand that you all come from different places, different politics, different affiliations, different viewpoints and perspectives, perhaps different political aspirations, and that can be healthy as long as you check all that at the door when you put your board member hat on. We want you to bring your collective experience and expertise and wisdom to the table, but personal agendas have no place, and certainly bad behavior is absolutely unacceptable. Now, I've been on countless boards. Mike Eister may have me beat, but the one constant I found in good, high-functioning boards is that they know the primary fealty is to the organization. You have one job, and that is to support the college in its educational mission. And that means, in your form of governance, supporting the president. You hired her, you evaluate her, and according to your own assessment, she has performed as you have asked. Your primary value is as a resource to her, but that can't happen if she feels unsafe in your company. Do you understand how problematic that is? And that I feel the need to say that out loud to you is indicative of the crisis that you have created. It's not too late to up your game and right the ship, but you need to want to do it. We need you to be statespeople. And we have some new members and some more experienced members, and perhaps I'm naive, but I believe you are well-intentioned in trying to do a good job. It just seems that what doing a good job means isn't understood, and certainly there doesn't appear to be any consensus among you on that. But I believe the pieces are here to be successful. I implore you to do better. It's an awesome responsibility to run a community resource like LCC. Being elected doesn't make you qualified, so we're counting on you to do better. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speakers.
The next three speakers are F.G. Fitzgerald, Delisa Mishintabi, and Demond Hawkins.
Excellent.
There is not an F.G. Fitzgerald online. Moving on, do we have Delisa Mishintabi online?
Looks like she is gearing up. If we are able to unmute Delise.
Yes.
There we go.
Hi.
There we
Yes.
go. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm here tonight to first and foremost say thank you to you all for giving your time and your effort and your talents to what you do. But I'm also here tonight to say I hold the president, Stephanie Bolger, in high regards. She works hard and tirelessly, and I, being with Volunteers in Medicine Clinic, we get to reap the benefits of some of these students that come. And I said just a few months back of how good, prepared, and professional your students are coming to us for their internships. But I want to say to you tonight that that comes from the top and it trickles down. And I feel that President Bolger has done nothing but stand out, stand up, and bring nothing but excellence to this community and to this community college. So please, 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 let's all do better. Let's all be better, and let's be a better community together. Thank you.
Thank you, Delisa.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
Demond Hawkins, and following Demond, we have Jamison Otten.
Excellent. Go ahead, Devon.
Yes, so I am Demond Hawkins. I am the president of the Eugene Springfield NAACP. I have had interactions with LCC at different, Dr. Bolger, and different community-based organizations doing work, talking about the great work going on at LCC, the initiatives, some of the great things that they're doing, just forward thinking. So it was my surprise to come to this and see all the dysfunction going on with the board here. My purpose here tonight, I really am a believer in LCC and the mission that it's on. But the NAACP, we called for an investigation of Mr. Mulholland's conduct. We witnessed his behavior at one of the public meetings. We read the allegations entered into public record, and we said we would call for his resignation if the allegations were substantiated, and they were. Mr. Mulholland, it is your choice. You can choose to resign or not to resign, but it is also the community has every right to move towards a recall, especially if the board fails to act with a censure in the way that it should. That is the minimum. I say this not to be overly harsh, but I followed some of the responses in the investigation, and his claims was that the investigation was inaccurate. It was his behavior was justified because he was chair, and that's not leadership. That's entitlement. That's a lack of accountability. Bullying, is not something that we should tolerate. We wouldn't tolerate it with the students towards a teacher, nor a teacher towards the students. So why, when I hear some of the board members struggling to figure out if they should censure or not censure, this is unaccountable. This is something that we need to do. This hurts the enrollment of the students, the staff, the morale, the campus climate, public trust, and fundraising. If you truly are on board with the students, the staff, the faculty, and the students, particularly this community, then you censor. And not censure just with words, but with consequences, because other than that, it's just a press release. We're here for our black and brown community. If we can't trust you to take care of this black and brown community person, this leader here, then I can't trust you with other students and staff here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jameson?
Good evening and thank you. Jamison Otten, speaking on behalf of Jamison Otten, not Lane Transit District. Before I start, I want to thank Mr. Altucker. Courage stands up. Courage always will stand up, so thank you for standing. The respectful campus statement that you all have reads, Lane Community College is dedicated to fostering a welcoming, inclusive, safe, and equitable environment. We encourage open communication, constructive dialogue, and collaboration to ensure every voice is heard and respected. That's clearly not happening at the top levels of leadership. No organization is perfect. That can't be the expectation. But bullying behavior, discriminatory behavior is not accepted. Modeling good behavior in leadership roles is the standard. You're helping to train leaders. Be one. Right near the top of your website is also another clear statement. We support each other to make anything possible. Show us that version of LCC. The community needs you to be that version, especially at a time when many of our students and neighbors need relief, need to be able to have a future, need to be able to access the vision of this college. It's an important asset. A few years ago, a talented and accomplished professional chose to relocate to this community. I know that feeling and what that takes. But the same roads that brought her here, they're going to be plowed in the winter. They can take her back. And then what will the community earn from that? Foolishness will rule the day. All the time and effort that was invested in attracting the talent that you have sitting right with you would be for naught. Do better. do much better.
Thank you. Nicole, our next speaker.
Our next three speakers are our final online speakers. We have Leslie Soriano Cervantes, Sharon Ungerleider, and Diana Lerner.
Thank you. Wait for.
Okay, I only see Diana Lerner on, so if we could have her up next, please.
Okay, Diana? We're waiting for her to unmute.
There we go.
All right, there we go. Go ahead, Diana.
I'm currently the treasurer of the LCC Foundation. And I want to remind us all that LCC is a place and should continue to be the place where many can learn and go on to be productive members of our community. LCC should always be a welcoming community for everyone. We are all better when we work together to make our community a more livable place, and that all are welcome, especially at the several LCC campuses. No one should ever feel concerned about how they are or will be treated. This is a place of learning on many levels. I hope we move forward to continue the legacy of LCC and make our community a place where others want to be. Thank you, and I hope we move forward together.
Thank you, Diana. I'll keep Leslie and Shane on my list, though, just in case if they show up online again. Who's our next speakers, Nicole?
Our next three speakers are Tiffany Edwards, Bonnie Mickelson, and Dr. Margaret Hamilton.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tiffany Edwards, and I am here tonight to read a statement on behalf of the Eugene Area Chamber of Commerce and its Board of Directors. The Eugene Area Chamber of Commerce believes that strong ethical governance is essential to a healthy community and economy. We cannot be a community that tolerates an elected or appointed official engaging in bullying, racist or discriminatory conduct or behavior that demeans or disrespects anyone. These actions not only harm individuals, they also undermine public trust and weaken the institutions our region depends on. Lane Community College is one of those critical institutions. It trains our workforce, creates pathways for students and families, and fuels growth for local industries that lead to improved economic conditions for everyone in our community. Quite simply, the strength of our economy is tied to the strength of our community college. To succeed, LCC must be led in an environment of respect, civility, and professionalism. Strong, high-functioning boards set policy, hire and evaluate leadership, and ensure that resources are stewarded responsibly. They protect and respect that operational decisions belong to the administrators entrusted with running the college. President Stephanie Bolger has earned positive reviews from the board for her leadership. We are incredibly lucky to have her as our college's administrator, and she deserves the community's unwavering support as she continues this important work. The long-term success of Lane Community College depends on public trust. Students and families must trust that their college is safe, welcoming, and an inclusive place to learn. Local businesses must trust that graduates are receiving the training they need to thrive. As stewards of this community resource, the board owes it to its students, families, employers, and taxpayers to behave appropriately and to keep their focus on what is best for the college and, in turn, the broader community. Our community expects more from those who represent us. Racist, discriminatory, or abusive conduct, whether directed at administrators, students, or fellow board members, has no place in our public institutions. We call on our leaders at Lane Community College and beyond to model the integrity and accountability our community deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Next, we have Bonnie Mickelson, and with Dr. Margaret Hamilton following.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Bolger, members of the Board of Education of our wonderful Lane Community College. I am Vonnie Mickelson. I serve as the president and CEO of the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here to make comments on behalf of my board of directors, 23 members, and the 800 members across the region, member employers that they represent. Thank you for the opportunity. Our community has a vested interest in Lane Community College, the mission, reputation, and leadership. Employers across sectors rely on LCC as a trusted partner, worthy of voter-approved bonds, philanthropic investment, and collaboration in preparing a future-ready and indeed leaders of our future. We cannot afford a distracted, divided board, nor do we tolerate abusive or toxic behaviors in leadership. The independent legal investigation substantiating misconduct by an elected board member and the resulting hostility toward the administration cannot be dismissed. Abuse of position and power misrepresents our communities and our college's values. It violates principles of sound governance and threatens public trust. Left unresolved, it damages the college's reputation and its ability to serve students and employers. You employ a high-performing chief executive in President Bolger, who is well-equipped to advance timely, transparent strategies. With a new board in place and a new academic year underway, this is an opportune time to reset your priorities and set a clear course forward. We urge you to act firmly and cohesively. Hold board members accountable. Respect the president and her delegated authority. Recommit to your fiduciary responsibilities and protect the integrity of LCC and the community it serves. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Margaret Hamilton with Catherine York following.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Hamilton. I am the former president of LCC. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I will be brief. When I retired, I was advised by a very wise person to give the new president grace and let her find her way. I'm here tonight because of what I've read in the news regarding the treatment of the president and how it's affecting this college that I love. I feel compelled to ask you to think about how your actions are affecting this college. I speak from 20 years of executive experience in community colleges. I've worked directly and collaboratively with boards my whole career. As a retired college president, as an accreditation reviewer, I can assure you that what we're discussing tonight is extremely serious and can jeopardize not only the success of this college, but your accreditation. Successful colleges must have boards that act as role models to the basic principles of equity and respect, first amongst themselves and then with the president and the whole college. They hire highly qualified executives like Dr. Bolger who understand how colleges work, and the successful board emulates that success. Neither a board nor a college president can function independently. Each needs and must support the expertise of the other. I'm here tonight to remind you that the boards before you have been good stewards of Lane's values. I can assure you that the prior boards have valued equity and respect and held everybody accountable, including themselves. So, Dr. Bolger, you deserve the same respect from all of us who understand the workings of a college. I am here, board, to ask you to ask yourselves tonight to consider, what do you need to do to ensure the integrity of Lane's values and to ensure that they're upheld and maintained for future generations? Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on, though, I just wanted to double check online. Leslie and Shane. Leslie and Shane, are you online? No. Okay. We'll move on to the next speaker. Thank you.
Next, we have Catherine York following with Eric Parrish. All right, I believe we will move on to Eric Parrish.
Good evening. My name is Eric Parrish, and I'm an active community member and board member of several organizations here locally. I'm here today to talk about something critical to our institution's success: leadership, stability, the role of board members, and our collective responsibility to our community, to our college community. In the fast-paced world of higher education, the retention of a successful president is not just an advantage, it's a necessity. A president with a proven track record brings a level of continuity and vision that is irreplaceable. They understand our unique culture, our challenges, and our opportunities. Constant turnover at the top leads to a lack of focus, inconsistent strategies, and a loss of momentum. By supporting and retaining our president, we allow them to build on their successes, to see long-term projects through to completion, and to truly embed their vision for a stronger future. That brings me to the role of board members. Our purpose is to provide oversight and strategic guidance. And to do this effectively, we must also show unwavering support for our leader. This means working collaboratively, providing constructive feedback, and trusting the expertise of the person we have chosen to lead. A board that is unified in its support empowers the president to make bold decisions and to innovate without fear of internal discord. Finally, we must address the need for board discipline. Our integrity as a board is only as strong as our weakest link. When a board member acts in a way that undermines our shared mission by bullying, racism, or obstructing progress, we must have the courage to address it. Failing to do so erodes trust, compromises our effectiveness, and sets a dangerous precedent. Our duty is not to be a group of individuals, but a cohesive governing body. By committing to these three principles, retaining our successful president, providing them with our full support, and upholding the integrity of the boards we serve on, we are not only serving our institution today, but we are also building a more stable and prosperous future for generations of students to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
Our next three speakers are Dr. Mary Spieldy, Amanda Walkup, and Rob Evans.
Good evening. My name is Mary Spieldy, former employee at Lane Community College, serving as president for 6 years and president for 16 years. Never in my wildest dreams did I see myself coming back to ask the board to censure a colleague and to implore Mr. Mulholland to resign. I'd like to address two items. In the investigative report substantiating the claims of creating a hostile environment and bullying, Mr. Folnaghi and Mr. Mulholland were quoted as saying, and I'm paraphrasing, that there was no place, Mr. Mulholland didn't feel he had any place to acknowledge the president in board meetings, and that the president does not have a role in conversations at board meetings because she's not a board member. I have no idea where this thinking came from. It is simply incorrect. It goes against all the principles of good governance. Having sat through almost 250 board meetings at this college, hundreds since in the work I do with the National Association for Community College Trustees, I do not know of one instance in the 1,137 colleges in this country where the president does not provide background and information. I watched my predecessor help guide and be a resource to the board, as I myself did for 16 years. All the research on good board governance outlines this role for the college president. Benefit of the doubt. If you simply didn't know how this was supposed to work, then stop the behavior. However, now that you do know this is a best practice, if you persist in this behavior, everyone will see it for what it is: a thinly veiled excuse to silence the president, a Black woman. This behavior does not comport with the long-held values of Lane Community College, far less complying with your own policies. Secondly, in the report, Mr. Mulholland states his concern about budget issues, implying that it is one of the reasons he is dissatisfied with the president. He should be worried, because simply and plainly, the reason the college is in the position it is in is because of recent actions by the majority of the board. Prior to the pandemic, the majority of the board voted to spend down what was a 13% ending fund balance to 3%, a completely unsustainable amount of money to see the college through the beginning of the academic year. When Dr. Bulger came here and brought in financial experts, they deemed the college barely surviving. She inherited this problem due to board actions. When the board directed her to develop a sustainable budget, the majority of the board denied the cuts she proposed. So the board members and this entire community should be worried about the sustainability of our beloved college. This board is putting our accreditation status in danger due to bad governance, bad stewardship, and bad fiduciary responsibility, and certainly putting the college at enormous legal risk. So finally, board members, if you do dismiss this report, you're complicit. Part of your job is to set the tone for the college. If you do not take action, you're complicit in the racist, sexist, and misogynistic behavior that has been directed towards our president and others that many people see. An apology is not enough. You have not acknowledged the real harm, both personal and professional, that has impacted Dr. Bulger. This may not be your intent, but it is your impact. Please censure your colleague, and I implore you, Mr. Mulholland, please resign so that this board can get back to being a good governing board. Do not make a mockery of our long-held values that were created by our faculty, staff, and students at this institution, and do not make a mockery of the statement of respect that was put together, again, by the faculty, staff, and students. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder, we are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Thank you very much. Our next speaker.
Our next speaker is Amanda Walkup, and following is Rob Evans.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Walkup, and I am a partner at Hirschner Hunter, which is a law firm located here in Eugene. I've practiced law in this community for over 30 years. My area of practice is employment law, where I primarily represent employers. My clients include businesses of all sizes and industries, including private and public entities, those with union and non-union employees, and quite a few nonprofits. As a business owner and an advisor to local businesses, I am invested in having a robust local community or local economy, which requires us having a trained workforce. Lane Community College is a vital piece to this puzzle. In my law practice, I stress to my clients, the employers, the need to provide a respectful workplace free of discrimination, harassment, bullying, and retaliation. When LCC's leader is facing disrespectful and dismissive conduct because of her race and gender, as determined by an independent investigator, something is fundamentally wrong. The board's role here is clear: to ensure that its employee, Dr. and President Bulger, is supported and not subjected to inappropriate and disrespectful conduct. Our community expects professionalism from all of our leaders, elected and hired. We thank you for your attention, and we are counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we
Next
have Rob Evans. Following is Jasmine Hatmaker.
First of all, I want to thank you, board members, for stepping up to do the difficult work of a board. My name is Rob Evans, and I'm the owner of Converted Kitchen and Transcendence Construction here in Lane County, and serve on several local boards myself. The success of our business community and its related economy depends on the strength and success of LCC. Employers in the area, especially in my industry, count on LCC to successfully train and guide its graduates to be prepared and have the right attitudes to succeed. As leaders in our community and schools, it is imperative that we model those attitudes and traits. What is done at the LCC board matters to the overall success of those students. Disrespectful, divisive, and inappropriate behavior does not just damage relationships, it threatens the stability of the institution itself. The strength of our economy is tied directly to the strength of Lane Community College. Employers like me depend on well-trained graduates who are prepared to succeed. That's why board conduct matters. In several interactions that I have had with President Bulger, I have found her to be thoughtful, professional, and competent. President Bulger also has earned positive reviews for her leadership, stabilized finances, and growing enrollment. We are fortunate to have her at the helm, and she deserves our community's confidence. Long-term success requires a cohesive team and leadership. We need a board committed to professionalism, accountability, and ethical governance. Our economy, our workforce, and our community depend on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jasmine Hatmaker. Following is Jim Arnold.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Jasmine Hatmaker, and I'm here as someone who was born here in Eugene. A safe and inclusive environment is non-negotiable for our students and families. When leaders engage in racist, discriminatory, or abusive conduct, it undermines the very mission of Lane Community College. LCC must remain a place where everyone feels welcome, respected, and supported in their pursuit of education and opportunity. This responsibility falls heavily on the board. They are not just decision makers, they are role models for the next generation. Their behavior should reflect the values we want our students to carry into the workforce: integrity, civility, and collaboration. We call on every leader to uphold these values. Our students, staff, and community deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Next, we have Jim Arnold. Following is Rosa Lopez.
Good evening. My name is Jim Arnold. I'm a Lane County resident, a retired university and college administrator, and someone who sincerely cares about the future of Lane Community College. Just so you know, my comments take us in a different direction. Tonight I stand here as an ally of both the college's faculty and, well, the Board of Education too, because I'm very concerned about the wide gap between the bargaining positions of the LCC-EA and the administration. The proposals brought forward by the union are thoughtful, forward-looking, and clearly rooted in student success. They're calling for more support for students, including better access to advising, tutoring, and mental health services. They're advocating for inclusive facilities, safe classrooms, and working conditions that allow faculty focus on teaching and mentoring students. On the other hand, the administration is proposing to reduce job security, eliminate long-standing agreements, and reserve the right to reopen pay discussions at almost any time under vaguely defined conditions. That kind of unpredictability doesn't just harm morale, it makes it harder to recruit and retain good faculty. I urge you all, as a board, to strongly encourage your bargaining team to move toward a settlement that reflects Lane's espoused values of integrity, relevance, learning, support, and transformation. Even in these resource-challenged times, my advice to you is to choose to invest in students and in faculty. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Rosa Lopez. Following is Jim Salt.
Right, this is definitely not 2 minutes, but I will email you the rest. Before I begin, I want to thank you for your dedication to LCC. My name is Rosa and I work in Career Pathways. Our department has customized programming to support students who are facing extreme barriers to education, such as those on SNAP benefits, those participating in vocational rehabilitation, first-generation immigrants, and those experiencing houselessness. Students who face these barriers and who enroll in short-term training are eligible to receive intensive case management and funding. The one-year LPN is an example of short-term training, while RN, being a longer program, is not. Late last spring, prospective LPN students found out that the program was suspended the same week they were anxiously awaiting responses to their robust applications. We had several students in tears in the Career Pathways and Care office that week. Students had spent 1 to 2 years completing prerequisites just to have the rug ripped out from under them at the very last minute. They didn't even have time to apply for alternative options elsewhere. They were quite clearly and angry and disappointed in Lane. Some students apply only to LPN, and some consider it a secondary option for highly competitive RN, which can have 3 to 4 times more students applying than there are openings. LPN offers alternative pathway to the nursing field for less competitive applications. But when LPN ended, no additional RN spots were added, in effect decreasing the total number of potential spots for those trying to enter the field. We did, however, see a new bachelor's in nursing application was posted the same week the LPN was canceled. I am also excited about the BSN, but I don't think any of us understood that the price we had to pay for offering further education for more advanced RN graduates meant, I don't think any of us understood the price we had to pay for offering further education for more advanced RN graduates would mean cutting off opportunities for students who are less competitive for entering the field in the first place. I do know RN students get an LPN license or can before their final year, but nobody who spends 3 to 4 years applying for RN trying to get in is going to take the LPN license and disappear before their final RN. And if we did, we'd have a pretty terrible attrition rate for RN, and that's not what we want. So we need a separate LPN program.
Thank you. Thank you. Unfortunately, 2 minutes are up. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll get an email for the rest. Thank you.
Next, we have Jim Salt. Following is Rachel Knighton.
Let's try to make this work. Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes.
I would note before I start my remarks that there seem to be two worlds here tonight, and I would encourage people to wonder why. More substantively, good evening. My name is Jim Salt. I'm starting my 28th year here as a sociology instructor. Some may recall my remarks to the board at your June meeting regarding administration's shocking attacks on Lane's faculty in our association college contract. I had turned to Max Weber, one of the core founders of sociology, to help us understand the illegitimacy of this attack, acts that fundamentally undermine the administration's own authority. I concluded by asking the board to use its authority to direct the administration to stop these attacks and to start working with and supporting the faculty now and save the college, our students, and our community the severe damage that will come from these continued attacks from the administration. But I can almost hear the administration saying the board doesn't have that authority. Bargaining is an administration matter, an operational matter, because that's exactly what the administration is telling the board when it simply tries to do its job on other matters. A current obvious example is the administration's bizarre claim that the board has no authority over what instructional programs Lane offers, doesn't get to vote on whether programs are eliminated, put on hiatus, or presumably added. This despite a long history of heavy board involvement and ultimately votes on such changes to our programs. We're even seeing the administration trying to usurp the authority of the board to set or amend its agenda. Stances in obvious conflict with law, board policy, Robert's Rules of Order. But the beautiful thing here is, of course, that all it takes to turn this usurpation effort around is for the board to simply say, no, thank you. We'll hold on to the authorities provided us by law and policy. And ultimately, it only takes 4 votes, quote unquote. I'm going to do it like this, 4 votes. To quote a former board member, George Alberghi, some of you really old timers here in the room may remember George. He at the time was a retired LCC political science professor, a colleague of mine. George understood very well where authority comes from, including the authority of community college boards. He also was dealing with an administration that was working to limit the authority and role of the elected board at that time.
Mr. Salt, if you could finish your thought, that'd be greatly appreciated.
One sentence, and it is Dr. Salt.
Dr. Salt, I apologize.
I will simply say, that's a joke, by the way. I will simply say I encourage not just 4 votes, but 7 votes from all board members. Defend the authority of the board and use it to address the bargaining issues as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salt.
Next is Rachel Knighton. Following is Daphne Gabrielli.
Good evening, board members and President Bulger. My name is Rachel Knighton. I'm a faculty member here at LCC, and I'll be reading this statement on behalf of and in solidarity with our LCCEA board members, union members, sorry. I'm here with an update on the petition we last presented in July in support of a fair contract for LCC faculty. As a reminder, in spring 2024, LCCEA conducted an all-faculty survey to determine the issues most important to faculty, and a vote with 99% of them endorsing the goals we're now advocating for to achieve a fair faculty contract. We now have 812 total signatures on our petition in support of a fair contract for faculty. This includes 510 signatures from students and other campus and community members. These are just a few of the community members who've signed who you should be aware of. Jonathan Galt, President, Springfield Education Association. Sarah Henson, President, Central Oregon Community College Faculty Forum President. Sarah Williams, President, Mount Hood Faculty Association. Sean Daniels, President, Lynn Benton, part-time faculty. Pete Hernberg, President, Blue Mountain Faculty Association. Sean Townsend, Vice President, American Postal Workers Union. Victor Reyes, Executive Director of American Association of University Professors. Michael Dreiling, former President of American Association of University Professors. CJ Mann, Board Member, Willamette Lane Parks and Recreation. Jonathan Light, Springfield Board of Education Chair. Pat Riggs Henson, Chair of Lane County Labor Chapter of the AFL-CIO and former LCC Board Member. John Hasegawa, Community College Director, OEA Board. Christopher Zimmerly Beck, Community College Director, OEA Board. Ty Prue Zimmerman, City of Eugene Budget Committee Member. Chris Early, Board Member, National Education Association. Enrique Ferreira, President, OEA. Chris Wigg, former Chair of the Democratic Party of Lane County. Kitty Piercy, former Eugene Mayor. Heather Buck, Lane County Commissioner. Together united, we urge you to support these goals in the interest of creating the college our community deserves.
Thank you.
Next, we have Daphne Gabrielli, and following is Wendy Simmons.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members and President Bulger. I'm Daphne Gabrielli, and I will continue to read this statement on behalf of our LCC union members. The petition reads as follows. To the Lane Community College Board of Education, we, the undersigned faculty, classified professionals, students, and concerned community members, stand for higher education for the common good. We support a fair contract for LCC faculty. We urge you to provide fair pay for all faculty with pay parity for part-time faculty, including flight tech instructors and coaches. Reasonable workloads with limited class sizes to allow instructors to best support students, and equitable workload calculations for lab instruction. Essentials for working conditions, including sufficient budgeting for LCC's instructional and student services mission, faculty job security, academic freedom, private offices, up-to-date hardware and software, and ethics and integrity in search processes. Necessities for student success, such as staffing to support students' ADA accommodations, robust staffing of counseling, mental health advising, and tutoring, support for student food and housing needs, funding for faculty to develop and adopt open educational resources to reduce student costs, and reduce textbook markup at the bookstore. A safe and healthy campus by ensuring LCC is prepared for any public health emergency and ready in the event of a lockdown, with, for example, classroom doors with working locks, and association rights and legal compliance by making updates to align with changes in state law and providing the union a safe meeting space on campus. Signed, supporters of a fair contract for LCC faculty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Wendy Simmons, followed by Adrian Mitchell.
Good evening. I'm Wendy Simmons, a faculty in PE, and I'm speaking in solidarity with my LCCEA colleagues. The people of Lane County elected the board to oversee the development of programs and services that board members believe will best serve the needs of the people of the Lane Community College District. This includes giving board members the information to make decisions about program development, expansion, and/or cuts. Recently, the college added the bachelor's in nursing program with the board's approval, and yet this past June, as you've heard, suspended the LPN program without consulting the board or notifying the public. This is not following policy nor normal practice. In Chapter 4 of the LCC Board Policy Manual, Board Policy Number 4350 states, "The Board of Education shall approve all major academic, vocational, and technical programs of study, degrees, certificates, and diplomas, approve major substantive changes in the college mission, policies, and programs. In accordance with ORS 341.290, it's the board's responsibility to, among other things, provide and disseminate to the public information relating to the program, operation, and finances of the college, community college, maintain program services and facilities, and cooperate and enter into agreements with any person or public or private agency." How can we build trust in our community without allowing the board to function as intended and as required by law? If the administration can cut any program at any time without board oversight and without public notice, can students trust that the programs they apply for will be there when they're ready to attend? I'm very concerned that the administration is not letting the board fulfill its obligation to the community and that the administration has greatly overstepped their role in our college. It is not providing the information so that the board can fulfill its responsibility. On a related note, I know that our board members care deeply about our community college. I serve with LCC board members on the budget committee for the city of Eugene. If you live in Eugene, you're probably aware of the city's current budget crisis. Are you aware that through the leadership of members of the LCC board on the budget committee, as well as former board members and LCC employees on the city council, critical services in Eugene were saved? They were saved thanks in a large part to the leadership of LCC board members and former employees, I'm almost done, who dedicate their time and service in the city, all of whom are people of high integrity, intelligent creativity, and passion, with whom I'm proud to serve on the budget committee. The people of Eugene couldn't fathom these cuts being made without input from the city council, budget committee, and public comment.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, we have Adrian Mitchell, followed by April Myler.
Esteemed Board of Education members, my name is Adrian Mitchell and I serve as the president of the faculty union representing the 550 part-time and full-time faculty at LCC. I'm speaking regarding the recent ruling by the Employment Relations Board panel of 3 judges, which confirms the LCC administration engaged in unlawful activity in their treatment of our faculty and our faculty union. On behalf of the faculty, I'm respectfully requesting that the Board of Education provide direction to the administration to change course and to make every effort to take a collaborative, productive approach to labor relations. The judges found that the college administration engaged in several unfair labor practices when LCC violated state statutes. The panel determined that the college administration violated the law by engaging in surveillance of union emails and then discussing the content of the emails, quote, to strategize, end quote. The judge's order also confirms that the LCC administration engaged in unlawful activity by threatening faculty council with legal action and seeking to prohibit legally protected discussion at their meeting. In addition, the ERB panel of judges found that the college administration engaged in unlawful direct dealing through what constituted direct negotiations with a group of faculty members and also through a survey of faculty at large over potential changes which would require bargaining. This decision underscores a broader pattern of LCC administration not following the faculty contract or state labor law. We're deeply saddened to see this take place when prior to this unfair labor practice hearing, LCCEA and LCC had not had any other unfair labor practice hearing since 2001, nearly 25 years ago. At the same time, the annual administration spending on outside attorney costs has skyrocketed in the past years, amounting to more than $829,000, with more than $358,000 last year alone. And my colleague April will continue.
Thank you.
April Myler is next. Following is Dawn Easton.
Good evening, everyone. I stand in solidarity tonight with my full-time and part-time colleagues and our union families that came here to represent us from around the community and state this evening. These figures provided by the LCC administration are limited to LCC spending on attorney fees related to labor issues. The request for information did not include other legal costs incurred by LCC, and that information has not been made publicly available. So we have no estimates for the total outside attorney costs. It is important to note that the $829,000 cumulative total for legal fees far exceeds the $675,000 amount that is built into this year's budget for unspecified program and service cuts. We are dismayed to see this level of spending on legal fees when cuts should not be necessary. At the same time, management and administrative staffing levels are being increased in the budget by 10% from last year's all-time historic high of 72 managers to 79 managers for this fiscal year. In addition, we have found that last year alone, LCC spent more than $270,000 on fees to one specific firm that represented LCC in the unfair labor practice hearing. Importantly, LCCEA remains gravely concerned about LCC administration spending on this firm given the general lack of Oregon public sector law knowledge and experience on the part of one attorney who represents LCC. In particular, Christy Foy represented LCC and is not admitted to the bar. Let me repeat, Christy Foy represented LCC and is not admitted to the bar.
Thank you.
I introduce my peer, Dawn Easton.
Next is Dawn Easton. Following is Verna Reedy.
Greetings, board. My name is Dawn Easton, a long-time CIT faculty member and supporter and strong union presence in this room at this time. I want to reiterate that this particular attorney, her name is Christy Foy, represented LCC and is not admitted to the Oregon bar, which means she doesn't understand Oregon law like an Oregon bar attorney does. On behalf of LCC, I ask that you take the time to review the memo sent by LCCEA officers in September of 2024 with specific recommendations for actions that the board can take in directing the administration to create a learning and working environment that is free from labor disputes and unlawful fair labor practice activity. The people of Lane County, whom you represent, are counting on you to fulfill your fiduciary responsibility to the community by seeking settlements and resolution to ensure that excess spending on unnecessary escalation and litigation with the college's own employees does not continue. Faculty are deeply committed to produce productive labor relations, which also contribute positively to our campus, our students, and our community. We would like to see your leadership ensuring the conditions on campus are transformed in order to allow us to do our best work in serving students, which is at the center of all we do. It is our sincere hope that you will consider this in earnest and take immediate action to help move LCC in a more positive, collaborative, productive direction, one that welcomes and encourages the free exchange of ideas, seeks settlement over disputes, and ensures a reasonable, fair approach to contract negotiation that honors faculty as professionals rather than one that continues to create more strife. Thank you for your consideration and always for your dedicated service on the board and your representation of the people of Lane County.
Thank you.
Next, we have Verna Reedy, and following is Amy Beasley.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Belger. I'm Verna Reedy, and I teach in PE. I'm reading a statement in solidarity with some of my LCCEA colleagues. We are going to play a silent game of whose proposal. Administration is represented by red, And faculty is represented by green. So here we go. Whose proposal adds no additional paid floating holidays, options which can be used for religious, cultural observances not recognized by the college? Red, correct. Whose proposal would add Indigenous Peoples' Day as a paid holiday and honor religious diversity by adding 2 floating holidays for religious, cultural observance for holidays not officially recognized by LCC? Oh, we got some green. Correct answer. Whose proposal would allow the administration to convert stable full-time faculty jobs to part-time contingent gig work? Positions with an entirely separate, lower salary schedule and benefits, which is what we see in red states throughout the United States. Red, okay. Green, whose proposal maintains contracted faculty job security like all the rest of colleges throughout Oregon? Oh, I gave the answer away. Green, yes, excuse me. And let's see, one more. Whose proposal would allow the administration to subcontract faculty work, eliminate full-time faculty positions, and provide no professional development funds for laid-off faculty? And we have the red. Yes.
Thank you.
And that is my time.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Next, we have Amy Beasley. Following is Marge Helzer.
Hi, I'm Amy Beasley. I'll be continuing the game. Whose proposal would eliminate the right to subcontract faculty work and include professional development for faculty laid off or affected by minimum qualification changes so that they can stay current in new fields where they will teach? Whose proposal strikes contract language that protects part-time faculty from being removed from their jobs for expressing their academic freedom, professional freedom to discuss divergent points of view, and rights to speak in the community free from institutional censorship? Whose proposal maintains part-time faculty job security protections of these rights to non-discrimination and free expression? Whose proposal eliminates life insurance for contracted faculty and cuts health insurance benefits dramatically for all faculty? We're on a roll. Whose proposal keeps the same language for reasonable, affordable faculty insurance options when faculty already pay more than other employees at LCC for insurance? Whose proposal would create mandatory overloads for virtually all contracted faculty that would only be partially paid and would also result in immediate significant job loss for part-time faculty? Whose proposal ensures overloads are voluntary and would pay the overloads at the normal rate, which is already only 85% of regular rate? Whose proposal would keep the lab rate at 0.682, which is more than 11% below the state average at other colleges? Whose proposal would increase the TLC factor for lab to 1.0 so that workloads will be equitable? Whose proposal would reduce the lecture lab rate, which would increase full-time faculty workloads by more than 8% and reduce part-time faculty pay for lecture lab instruction by more than 8%? I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Thank you.
Next, we have Marge Helzer, and following is Joe Liebersbach.
Marge Helzer, anthropology, and I will continue the game. Whose proposal will allow the declaration of budget exigency based on internal projections and forecasts, which are always changing, and would require opening the contract for negotiations on any economic issue at virtually any time? Whose proposal would maintain existing standards based on objective, internal, verifiable, database criteria in the event of a real budget emergency and limits changes to furlough days and reduction of in-service days. Whose proposal has no recommendations to improve campus safety in the event of a lockdown or public health emergency. Whose proposal would require the development of a thorough and comprehensive safety plan in the event of a campus lockdown or public health emergency and follow the recommendations of the college's own attorney. Right. And just two more. Whose proposal dramatically reduces faculty privacy rights under the current campus conditions when it has been proven by legal order that management has surveilled union emails and administrators have reported that meetings on campus have been surreptitiously recorded? Whose proposal continues to protect faculty privacy rights of their email, mailboxes, offices, computers, and personal materials? Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Joe Liebersbach. Following is David Vanderhagen.
Good evening, board members and President Bolger. My name is Joe Liebersbach, and I am a lifetime Lane County resident, as well as a young professional, raising my young family and building my career here. I know personally how important Lane Community College is to the strength of our community, and I thank you all for this commitment and your service. As a former student myself, I am keenly aware that LCC doesn't just provide classes, credits, and degrees, but it truly opens doors to opportunity, especially to those who wouldn't have those opportunities otherwise. It also keeps great talent rooted right here in Lane County, which makes any shortcoming of the college a community-wide problem. When members of the board engage in disrespectful or discriminatory behavior, it diminishes the value and trust in this beloved institution. Students and staff of today and tomorrow deserve leaders who set the tone with professionalism and respect. Hard stop. Anything less sends the wrong signal to the very people preparing to enter our workforce and the workforce ready to support them. President Bolger has made real progress charting a positive long-term path forward for the college. That kind of leadership should be met with support and not hostility. If you want the next generation to see this community as a place worth staying and investing in, our institutions must reflect accountability and integrity. Our community deserves nothing less. It is up to you to set that example. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have David Vanderhagen. Following is Eric Zira. Next, we have Eric. Great, thank you.
Good evening, board members and President Bolger. My name is Eric Jura, and I reside in Zone 2. I'm a former community college instructor, a former member of the Road Community College Education Association. I'm not here to talk about labor matters, however. And I've had the honor of being elected twice to public boards in Oregon, not unlike this one. And I lost one election, and I'm still mad about that. Community colleges are essential to society and communities, offer accessible, affordable, and flexible education. In Oregon, 17 of 36 counties have a community college, and Lane County is fortunate and proud to be one of those. The people of Lane County have entrusted you with the governance of this institution during a period of upheaval, and I realize tonight that that's an understatement. Reductions in funding for higher education, predictions of falling enrollment, labor negotiations and labor management strife, and sadly, a Board of Education that is struggling to, I wrote down interpersonal relationships and governance issues, but I think it goes a little bit beyond that. Pretty much a perfect storm. So this is where I'll depart from that because it was meant for 3 minutes. I really want this board to succeed. I really, having served on a board such as this, a school board, I understand some of the challenges, and I thank you for your willingness to step up and do that. I mean that genuinely. I'm not here out of anger or rancor. I want you to succeed because it's so critically necessary that you do so. Couple of things that I would suggest respectfully. One is you have an incredibly talented, wise, and experienced CEO. One of her duties, and I'm not lecturing here, one of her duties is to support you, is to guide you, is to provide you with her best professional advice about how to govern a community college. And my sense is that you're not taking advantage of that. And it's a disservice to the college and to the community that you at times do not do that. I would also suggest that if the board does not have legal counsel on retainer, that you get legal counsel on retainer. It's very, very important. I also suggest that if you choose to do so, am I over? I'm sorry. So I will.
Yeah, unfortunate.
If you choose.
But you can finish your thought. You can finish your thought.
Thank you. Sorry.
Next speaker.
Next, we have Robert Melnick, followed by Karen Myers.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Robert Melnick. While I am not a direct member of the LCC community, I am a longstanding member of the Eugene Springfield academic community, a retired U of O faculty member and administrator. I fully understand the challenges of being a CEO in both economic and other trying times without getting into politics. While I have met President Bolger, we are not friends. I speak tonight as someone who cares deeply about academic freedom, the benefit of honest, open debate, and the need in our community for outstanding leaders. Based upon her record and succession to date, President Bolger is just that person. She has brought to this position stabilized college finances, increased enrollment, and excellent support for her staff in challenging times. And I want to remind the board, these are very challenging times. She has ensured that LCC is yet again a vital and vibrant presence in our community. She is a role model for others, and we are all fortunate that she is here. I'm appalled at the ways in which some members of this board have treated her with sexist and racist and abusive disrespect and a clear lack of professional integrity. President Bolger deserves much more than that. She has earned our collective thanks and appreciation for what she brings to LCC and the larger Eugene Springfield community. I call upon this board now and immediately to offer her that support and what that might take that she has earned so that she can continue these efforts into the future. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Karen Myers. I'm former middle school teacher and Eugene Slug Queen, by the way. But I don't speak from that perspective. I speak from the perspective of having read that letter to the editor about the independent investigation showing former chair Zachary Mulholland's acts of harassment, bullying, intimidation, etc., directed to Dr. Bolger, yelling profanities, belittling and attempting to undermine her authority, and then also mistreatment of former female staff and female students. I happen to be a former female staff member of LCC as well as a middle school teacher, and I'm a former female student at LCC and continue to be a student here because I love LCC. I have been coming here for years, and I come here and I do the art classes, and I hate to see what's going on. And therefore, after teaching middle school for 16 years, I say I can recognize an 8th grade bully when I see one. and I call for Zach Mulholland to resign from the board because the staff, students, and people like me from your community deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kate Berry, followed by Athena Aguiar.
Good evening. I'm Kate Barry, and I'm a former LCC employee. I spent 30 years here as a faculty member, directing the women's program and other areas, and retired as the Associate Vice President of Student Affairs. I was absolutely appalled to read the independent investigative report outlining some board members' bullying and disrespectful behavior to the college president based on her race and gender. This is the exact opposite of the values you should be demonstrating to the college community and to the community at large in your role as a governing board. Part of my past experience at Lane, part of my role was to oversee our internal system of complaints dealing with harassment, discrimination, bullying, intimidation. I've worked with many external investigators, and I know how difficult it is to substantiate the claims that people bring forward, because often those things take place in private. The fact that the report did substantiate this behavior means that it was a repeated, clear pattern, not a mere outflowing of emotion at a single meeting. Past Chair Zach Mulholland is named specifically in the report as exhibiting this behavior, and I echo the calls of other speakers for him to resign immediately. The board as a whole must also publicly censure this behavior and take steps to ensure that it doesn't happen again, not offer weak apologies that do not address the substantive harm caused by racist and sexist behavior, or offer a board statement that clearly two of the board members haven't even read. You must do better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Athena Aguiar, followed by Enrique.
Good evening, LCC board members. I just wanted to come speak in solidarity with the Lane Community College Education Association. When I first heard that LCC admin was surveilling its employees' emails, I simply did not believe it. I just could not imagine that our community college would ever violate its employees' policy in such an egregious way. I mean, that's insane behavior. Also, in regards to the LPM program cancellation, when a college with an elected board of education is considering a program cut, that board should certainly be part of that decision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our final speaker of the night is Enrique.
I guess he didn't want to be final.
Sounds like he's on his way. One moment, please.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your decorum and your attendance here, all of you. It's helpful, it's impactful for us, and I thank you for your presence, all of you. Come on, Enrique.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the board. I actually was in another meeting with the Board of Oregon Education Association. My name is Enrique Ferreira, and I am a member of the Oregon Education Association. And it's not my first time here. Last time I was here is that this board, the previous board, was attempting to cut the DEI programs and cut other positions. And today, I hear a bunch of apologies. What is going on? So, in my perspective, someone who oversees 42,000 members and worked with 42,000 members, we have a real issue in higher ed. And the real issue is that we can't be cutting programs. We've got to have a fair process for bargaining. What is happening here is a threat to higher education, freedom of speech, academic freedom. Whatever you do here is going to impact K through 12. And the last thing you want to do is press the buttons of K through 12 educators, because they're going to come here and tell you whatever you're doing here is going to impact them as well and their livelihood of the profession. Not only for faculty, but for also your classified members. I'm a community college member myself, a classified member of Clackamas Community College. So I urge this board to have a fair contract for the faculty members and move forward as a new board. Collaborate with one another. This is the opportunity for you to give this faculty group a good contract and for all of you to the reset button with your relationships and be an example for the community and the state, because what you're doing right now, everybody's looking at you. So I encourage you to have some leadership, give a fair contract, and reset button, mediation, call your faculty members who are experts in mediation, and they can help you out solve whatever's happening here. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. I also want to echo what Julie stated in regards to decorum and so forth. I wish I was there in the room. I unfortunately am caregiving for my father. And but we all immensely appreciate the comments that we heard today and the decorum. Thank you. We'll be now moving on to report.
Chair,
Oh, yes.
can I ask for a recess, please? We've been sitting here for 2 hours.
I think that's perfectly fair. Yeah.
I agree.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and do a 10-minute recess and we will return we will return at 8:02 p.m. 8:02.
Just stand up for a minute.
All right. Hey, Jesse, can you still hear me okay? Perfect. Okay. Kevin, Steve, can you hear me okay?
Austin, we can hear you. There's a couple members that are missing. They ran to the restroom. We've had quite a long line.
Yep, perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate you letting me know that. Just also FYI, before we get started, we have one more public comment that was accidentally deleted, and we're going to give them a chance to speak as well. So we'll go right into that once everyone's back from break. All right, so I'm going to repeat myself one more time. So we had one public comment that was accidentally erased. I do want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak at public comment. So we're going to go ahead and allow for that individual who was accidentally pulled off the list to be able to speak. So with that in mind, Nicole, will you call the person for public comment?
Yes, our final speaker of the night is Nikolai Anderson.
No, there he is, one of the guys that left.
Thank you, and I apologize for the mix-up. I am Nikolai Anderson. I'm a union carpenter from Local 541, a lifelong Lane County resident, and a former LCC student. It's not often that the choice between right and wrong is clear and obvious. As we sit in a campus built by union labor, with students taught by union labor, the right choice could not be more obvious. Listen to union voices. Listen to the voices of your educators. Listen to the voices of the workers that make LCC a great place to learn. I stand in solidarity with the members of the Lane Community College Education Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With the conclusion of public comment, we're now going to be moving into the reports. The first report is from the Student Government Association, President Hampton.
All right, hello, y'all. So my report, short, brief, currently on our second day of our retreat in Florence. Learning a lot, doing a lot of group discussion, a lot of group building. And then next week we have the conference. After that, 2 weeks of training, then we get kickstarted into the school year. And I'm hopeful for this Student Government Association so far, and they're looking to be a great team.
Thank you, President Hampton. Next is the LCCA report. Adrian Mitchell.
Esteemed members of the board, President Bulger, I'll be reporting tonight on a few resources and background information for the board, as well as some updates from LCCEA and the faculty. LCCEA advocates for justice, diversity, and equity on campus and off, and we remain concerned about BIPOC faculty resigning or retiring earlier than planned due to conditions on campus. I'm going to be addressing, and you will have a copy of this posted on board docs later this evening, going to address the data that was presented by the administration at the July 2nd board meeting about the strategic plan. This data does confirm the same trend that we have reported on at several meetings over the past 2 years. These data show that BIPOC faculty representation has dropped 3 full percentage points from fall 2022 through fall 2024. The administration did not include the most recent data because this was through fall of 2024. In April, another full-time faculty member from a historically oppressed racial and ethnic group resigned from LCC suddenly, specifically citing working conditions and retaliation by the administration for their advocacy for DEI and for the reinstatement of the DEI office as factors in their decision. The faculty member is a young, brilliant, early career educator who should have had decades of contributions to make to our campus, so this loss is particularly impactful. Among the 5 most recent full-time faculty who have left LCC, citing these factors, at least 2 of the faculty who chose to separate explicitly cited retaliation from upper administration that they had personally experienced as the primary factor in their decision as members of marginalized groups in their decision to leave LCC. With fewer than 200 full-time faculty members, this significantly impacts faculty diversity and ultimately our campus climate and students. In comparison, over a 15-year period from 2007 through June of 2022, 6 faculty who identify as people of color or racial or ethnic minorities separated for similar reasons, according to our records and first-hand exit interviews with affected faculty. We respectfully request that the board address these conditions so that all faculty can feel safe to advocate for justice and equity on campus. In addition, I've shared a number of resources that are already posted on board docs. These include Oregon State statute regarding the general powers of community college boards. I'd like to share on behalf of LCCEA that LCCEA unwaveringly supports the role of the Board of Education in making decisions on programs and services, including additions, suspensions, and eliminations. We recognize that decisions may result in program or service cuts, and that 9 times out of 10, the votes do result in program or service cuts, as evidenced by the long history of board votes, including at least 2 current board members on program and service eliminations and suspensions. There is a full document that provides not every single vote, but more than 24 votes that have taken place over the past 10 years, where the board has made a vote regarding program and service cuts, suspensions, and so on. More important than the outcome of the vote is the vote itself, as this is essential to our broader democracy and critical to the fulfillment of the promises to the people and voters of Lane County. Regarding bargaining, another resource has been provided and is posted on board docs for you. I wanted to bring a copy of our faculty contract to remind the Board of Education that this is a contract between the LCC Board of Education and the LCC Education Association, between the board and the faculty. This means that proposals made by the LCC administration represent the Board of Education. I hope you will please reference the comparison document that is posted on board docs, which is provided for informational purposes only, but provides great detail of information. We do not know if you are fully informed about the contents of the administration's proposal, so we recommend that you review that in detail. For example, did you know that the administration proposes to remove the contractual obligation that managers attend annual training on bias and discrimination, and the obligation that requires the Native American Student Program Coordinator and Longhouse Steward to be 2 distinct positions? Did you know that there are no proposals or responses on proposals regarding safety in the event of a public health emergency or lockdown, despite the college's own attorney's recommendations? Did you know that the LCC administration has not accepted our proposal to include immigration status in our non-discrimination clause, nor accepted any of our proposals to ensure that LCC is a sanctuary campus? Did you know that the LCC administration's proposal strikes language that ensures that students have access to the health clinic and that provides funding for curriculum development that reflects the needs of marginalized communities and focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion? That funding is eliminated by the college's proposal? Did you know that the administration is proposing to significantly reduce faculty privacy rights to their email, mailboxes, electronic files, and even personal material? This despite the recent unfair labor practice decision by a panel of 3 judges confirming unlawful administration surveillance of emails? Did you know that the administration proposal would slash job security by allowing the conversion of full-time faculty members to part-time contingent term-by-term workers at lower rates of pay and benefits through layoffs at any time with only 60 days notice? And did you know that the LCC administration proposes that part-time faculty would have no language protecting them from removal from their jobs for exercising their inherent rights? And what are their inherent rights? Non-discrimination, privacy, free expression of divergent viewpoints, academic freedom, union activity, and participation in civic life outside of LCC free from institutional censorship. Please do take some time to review that document. Those are just a few examples. I'm going to shift to talk a little bit more about some of the fun and exciting things that faculty are doing to prepare for fall. Right now, Faculty Connections has been meeting. This is the faculty mentorship and orientation program, which is very busy, preparing to host 15 or more new faculty for a 2-day welcome event on September 16th and 17th, with lunch with President Bulger and LCC leaders, as well as panel discussions on supports for students and resources for faculty to help ensure a smooth transition. In addition, Faculty Professional Development, which is a set of faculty-led programs with more than 25 faculty members serving on the various committees, will be hosting FPD Day, which is professional development tailored to faculty needs so that we can do our best work to serve students, as well as sabbatical reports, which are open to all campus community members on September 23rd, and to which you are all most cordially invited. And briefly, some LCCEA updates from the summer. We've welcomed 15 new union members this summer. We sent a team to summer school. We were not off. We were off at summer school at the U of O Labor and Education Research Center. Another team participated in a statewide bargaining and organizing summit for higher education. We have welcomed new officers and leaders from LCCEA to the statewide OEA Community College Council, on which I serve as vice president, and nursing faculty member April Myler was recently elected treasurer. We participated in a statewide community council retreat, as well as several leadership retreats, workshops, and more engagement of our member leaders. In addition, we engaged in legislative advocacy. So even though the legislature is currently not in session, we celebrated the 6.9% increase in funding for the Community College Support Fund. And as soon as the legislative session ended, we already began advocating with legislators for the next 2 legislative sessions. And we invite the board and administration to participate with us on joint advocacy for more funding for our community colleges. Thank you. And I will end with a final note, which is our mission. LCCEA engages in collective action to ensure an equitable learning and working environment and advocates for social justice and systemic change for the public good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the LCCEF report, Tammy Hill.
I think I'm the 51st. Okay, so if it looks like I'm winking at you, I'm not. My eyes giving me grief, so bear with me. I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to now. I've been listening to the comments and the things about you, Zach, and I think it's important to know that I've been in the union as a officer for 2 years now, and I can tell you that many of the grievances that aren't necessarily followed through because a lot of the classified run on a fear. easily put. They're afraid of retaliation, they're afraid they're going to be pushed out, so nobody does. But I can tell, well, not nobody, but enough. I can tell you that it does not stop here. I can tell you that there are several managers that do the same thing. So I can tell you that there's a classified member who was told that she doesn't look Latino enough to sit in the meetings with the people that aren't white. I wanted to join Diversity Council, and I was told I was too white to do that. I didn't have anything to offer because I'm white. I was told I was hired because I'm tall and my hair is light. I'm not diminishing what you experienced, Dr. Bolger. What I'm saying is, it's not exclusive. And perhaps this is the opportunity to really dig in and hold managers or anybody else accountable. The manager that told the classified member that she doesn't look Latino enough, that's been known for 2 years. That manager's still here, and it's been known by the college. That's what I'm saying. This is not exclusive. This is just, it's everywhere. I think it's important to know that. So if you want to get rid of one, get rid of all of them, because there's a lot. Okay, moving on. We also are talking about, equal rights for everybody, and everybody's treated the same. Well, I was watching these meetings and listening to what people had to say. Some people were told to stop at 2 minutes. Some people got to ramble till they were done. So why some and not the other? Why are we doing that? We're not being equal. The point is, if we're going to do it for one, do it for all. It doesn't make any sense. So, moving on. LCCEF has decided to move forward. We had asked for support for Zoom because it's important to us. I realize we are the bottom of the barrel, we are least concerned about, but it was important to us. And so we decided to the members aren't going to be able to see it anymore. The decision reflects our commitment to working in good faith, streamlining discussions, and focusing on reaching a fair, timely agreement. Members will no longer be able to observe their live sessions, but we will keep them fully informed through regular updates. It's important for us that you know that we're doing this because it underscores our dedication to collaboration and progress for the benefit of staff, students, and our community. Right now, our priority is reaching a fair, timely, and collaborative agreement. Do not mistake this for us saying, all right, we should just move forward. We're doing this because if there's a chance of any sort of increase, there are people that are working here that need that increase. We're moving forward because some people, they need what they can get. So we decided that that's what we're going to do. Saying that I'm disappointed at the support from the board is it's an understatement. What am I here for? The only time I bring anything to you of request is when it's important. And I'd like to know, where does it go? If I bring something to you, where does it go? Is it discussed? Do you think about it? Do you talk about it? Is it never spoke again? Because if that's the case, then why bother? Why bother asking for help if nobody's going to help? It would be great if classified members, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, if we could feel like we're part of the team. We don't. We may never. But it sure would be nice to feel like we matter. I'm wondering if we're going to do any lockdown practices. I think, again, another close call. We lock our door. That's what we know. Hide in a bathroom. That's what we know. But what's the protocol? What do we do? Where do we go? That feels in itself a little undervalued because there is no plan. We haven't talked about it. I haven't seen anything about it till it hit my phone this morning. I also think that we are not part of public comment, which you guys are all fabulous, but we're not part of that. When we stand up here and we have stuff to say, it would be great if the board could ask Dr. Bolger to ask us if you have questions, if we could communicate, because right now, this is our communication that we have. That's pretty sad. So, I guess that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Next, we're moving on to the president's report. Dr. Bolger.
Thank you, everybody. It's really, really a pleasure to see everyone this evening. Really, really pleased that the community came out this evening. We know that you love Lane Community College, and personally, I am incredibly grateful for all of the wonderful things that you said about me. To have two former presidents whom I admire, who I consider my friends, come out this evening is incredibly touching and heartwarming. Really appreciate the faculty and the classified professionals this evening as well. We've heard many, many different perspectives this evening, and what happens is a process that was articulated by the board chair at the time of public comment. And so all of these comments are directed to me, and I inform the board and respond to the board with any responses to any questions that they may have. And that's the process going forward. That's what we will do. I've heard quite a lot this evening that certainly I and my leadership team will be following up on. I want to read my president's report this evening. A copy of it is in the back of the room if there are some that are available. Because we are in a really interesting time here right now at Lane Community College. And so I want to read this report because so many people are here, so that you can get a sense of where we are. For more than half a century, Lane Community College has stood as a cornerstone of opportunity, innovation, and service in Lane County. Generations of students have come here to gain skills, transfer to universities, and prepare for meaningful work. We have weathered shifts in the economy, changes in state funding formulas, and the evolving needs of our community. Through it all, our mission has remained constant: to provide excellent, accessible education that changes lives and lifts communities. In just a few weeks, Lane will begin its fall term during a period of significant change that will require careful stewardship of our resources. The Board of Education has approved a fiscal year 2026 budget plan that includes reductions. And as president, I have been entrusted to implement those reductions in a way that sustains our mission while positioning Lane for a vital future. I understand that this moment brings uncertainty. I want to share the reasons behind these decisions, the principles guiding us, the role the community college has played, the guidance provided by the board, and the future we are building together. Tonight's fiscal year 2026 budget update presents a path that is principled, transparent, and anchored in student impact and the talented people who make that happen. We are protecting student success, aligning decisions with strategic priorities, using data and evidence, and applying an equity lens to anticipate disproportionate impacts. Today, we launched a website to keep our community informed, and I encourage both the college and the broader community to refer to it often, as information will regularly be updated. I also want to thank our campus and community for influencing immediate administrative decisions. Through the input received over the past year in the Grow, Save, Partner work groups, our virtual suggestion box, which is always open, and ongoing consultation, the college community continues to shape ideas to enhance revenue, improve systems and processes, and build partnerships. Your insight matters, and it is being used. Building on our Board of Education conversations this summer, I am working to schedule a series of community presentations this fall to gather focused feedback that will inform future budget discussions. Trustees will receive the dates, so you may join and hear directly from our community about how Lane can best respond to community needs. These sessions will also spotlight financial realities, achievements, and student support innovations, even as we address a projected multi-million-dollar structural deficit over the next few years. As we move into the fall term, our focus will remain on 3 priorities: fiscal condition, stewarding resources with transparency, aligning budgeting to student-centered domains, growing non-tuition revenues where possible, and tracking progress toward restoring our ending fund balance. Managed enrollment growth, positioning Lane as the college of choice for experiential learning, strengthening K-12 pathways, clarifying academic pathways, and integrating work-based learning across programs. Institutional climate, cultivating a respectful, empowering workplace because a healthy climate is foundational to student success and operational excellence. The Great Recession of 2008 brought forth a surge in enrollment to this college and deep cuts to state funding. The institution adapted by leaning on reserves and making targeted reductions, as well as through expansion in areas such as health professions to meet workforce needs. Here is the reality. We cannot keep doing everything the way we always have and expect to sustain the college in the long run. College expenses, including costs tied to healthcare, retirement, and contracts, predictably outpace revenue on an average of 2% each year. Even with encouraging gains, community colleges statewide are still recovering from a decade of enrollment decline, complicated by pandemic disruption. Absent thoughtful structural changes, deficits will deepen, and choices will be made in crisis rather than by design. Historically, Lane has managed through prudent use of reserves, temporary program pauses, and incremental adjustments, but the financial reality today is different. Absent structural changes, we will face persistent deficits that erode our ability to serve students effectively. I know these times are difficult. Change cannot be made lightly. I approach every decision with the knowledge that behind every number is a person, a program, or a possibility. I also know that our collective strength has always been Lane's greatest resource. We are at our best when we face challenges directly, draw on our shared commitment to students, and trust in our ability to adapt. My promise is to continue leading with transparency, care, and strategic focus. Together, we will ensure that Lane Community College not only weathers this period, but also emerges stronger, more focused, and ready to serve our community for the next 60 years and beyond. And to the college, I want to add that now is a time for resilience, the same skill we inculcate in students each year. We can set the standards to which we aspire. We can be constructive even when it would be easier to be critical of ourselves and others. We can face tough decisions, meet the moment, and model the values and behaviors we wish to see to foster psychological safety, attract more students, and serve this community's needs for future employees, leaders, and citizens. I want to thank the Board of Education for the values that you set forth in July at a special work session. With clear roles, shared purpose, strong union and governance partnerships, and broad community engagement, we will protect what matters most for students and for the region we serve, and ensure that Lane remains the college our community deserves. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Bulger. President Hampton, you had your hand up previously. I just wanted to make sure there was nothing that you wanted to state.
Oh, no, I just had my hand up too. I direct messaged the media team. The camera was pointed at the podium instead of the president, but it got resolved.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much for pointing that out as well. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. For consent agenda approval, which include the July 2nd meeting minutes and the fire panel upgrade contract. Would anyone like to pull? Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just.
No worries. No worries. I was just going to, yeah, you move on the consent agenda. Excellent. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. It's been moved and seconded to adopt the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Excellent. We're moving on to the action items. The first one being the president's goals. Dr. Bulger.
Yes, Chair Folnegi, given the lateness of the hour, I will defer my president's goals presentation to the work session in a couple of weeks so that you can actually get to the other two action items.
Greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. We will move the president's goals to the September 17th work session. Thank you for that. We're now moving on to board will discuss and take an action item in regards to board policy 4350. Now, I wanted to make sure, because I know today has been a really busy day, especially with the lockdown that happened earlier this morning and so forth. I don't see on board documents the motion language in regards to this. Just wanted to ask, did the board get that language and information in the written documents?
What motion?
Yeah, so there was motion. Yeah, there was language for a motion. Dr. Bulger, it was emailed earlier this morning at 10 a.m. To both you and Nicole. Again, I totally understand that it's been a really busy morning, but did we get the language of the motion?
No, it is
before the
not
board?
it's not in the board packet. I believe, do you have a copy of the motion? Perhaps can read it?
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, yes.
The agenda item states very clearly reaffirming board policy 4350 for program cuts does not include any alternative motion. I'm prepared to speak to the reaffirmation of board policy 4350.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a motion that is in that regard of reaffirming, but and we did include your document of major substantive change memo. That being said, yeah, so again, this is kind of awkward that the motion is not there, but that being said, we can go ahead and start the discussion with you, Kevin. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I believe that a reaffirmation might look as simple as I move that we affirm board policy 4350 for program cuts. It can be that simple. Anything other than that, Mr. Chair, is out of order, in my opinion.
And could I ask why it would be out of order? Because we don't have it in the packet?
Trustee Rust, I don't know if you could hear him, but he asked why that might be out of order. Because it's not on the agenda.
Absolutely. So, yeah, and this is where, again, the communication occurred. But yeah, what this is supposed to be is a conversation about this specific board policy. So let me just kind of start from the very beginning here. So over the last 4 months, there have been multiple concerns about board policy 4350. The policy allows for, well, actually, let me go ahead and just read the board policy directly. Board policy 4350 states that the Board of Education shall approve all major academic, vocational, and technical programs of study, degrees, certificates, and diplomas, approve major substantive changes in the college's mission, policies, and programs. This particular subject matter has been brought up by 3 different board members throughout the last 4 months. That is why it's been brought forward to this board as a discussion and an option to create a motion to reaffirm or to support this language. That being said, there is multiple areas that we might want to consider with all of this, including, but not limited to, the ORSs that are related to this topic. which essentially allows for the Board of Education to approve changes, pauses, to stop a program, as well as to approve brand new programs. So this is a really critical aspect of this conversation, is to make sure that we are following not only board policy, but Oregon revised statutes, as well as the various past practices that we have done. Over the last, since 2014 actually, we have passed programs, stopped programs, paused programs, nearly 21 different times. This is past practice, and it's really critical that if there is any programs that are being stopped, cut, paused, and so forth, that the board gets an opportunity to approve it and to have the final say on it. This also allows for democratic processes to occur. Democratic processes such as the board hears public comment about these different programs that are being cut and or approved. It also allows us to exercise our equity lens, which allows for us to properly analyze how these different programs are impacting marginalized communities, students, and so forth. This board policy is also in partnership with the president, because the president brings this forward to the board after careful consideration from the administration, and then allows for the board to make a decision. This is not operations, this is governance. And it's very critical to make that distinction. And our board policies even make that distinction. So with that, based off of what I've heard from other board members, this issue was meant to be brought up in this May. And give me 1 second here while I pull up the email that I sent to you, Dr. Bulger. And I'll be able to allow for conversation. So go ahead. So with that, we open the floor up for conversations and go from there. Jerry Rust, go ahead.
Let me put a motion on the table, and if it gets a second, we can discuss it.
Perfect.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. This is completely out of order. The agenda item clearly says a reaffirmation of Board Policy 4350. There is no agenda item to change that. I'm not saying that that's something that we can't do in the future, but it's completely inappropriate and out of order, out of process to do that this evening. To bring up language that was apparently sent earlier this morning and expect us to have a thoughtful and deep discussion that's not good policy. That's not good governance rather. I'm prepared to make a statement about reaffirming the Board Policy 4350. I believe that's what should happen according to the agenda item. And I have no idea what motion you're talking about to change that. Apparently, Trustee Rust does. No one's talked to me about it, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But if the proposed motion is to somehow reduce the authority of the president to operate the college, I have 4 very serious concerns about that. But I will wait to hear if that actually does come up. In the meantime, I'd appreciate an opportunity to reaffirm, as the agenda item states, Board Policy 4350.
Absolutely. And Kevin, what you're talking about is protection of assembly, which per Robert's Rules of Order allows for a motion and a second to be made in regards to an agenda item.
Mr. Chair, as the chair, I'm going to interrupt you on this, Chair. I think you're completely out of order here. If you're proposing a major policy change and you expect this board to somehow just do that tonight in short order, that would reduce the authority of the president, I have a problem with that.
What I'm talking about is existing board policy. But again, that's all I'm saying. And all I was describing was Robert's Rules of Order there. I was not describing anything as far as a motion I'm actually opening it up to the board to consider a motion if they so choose. My role here is to empower board members, and that's what I'm trying to do in this moment here. So, in order.
One way forward would be if I could put this motion on the table, if it gets a second, and it could be tabled and forward and set forward to a future meeting.
Yep, exactly. Yep, and that's what we were working towards. Yeah.
That we didn't get this. Your email wasn't printed out and given to the board.
Yep.
So I don't know. What do you think, Mr. Chair? What's the
Yeah.
way forward?
It's open to right now. It's an open floor for the board to make a motion. In order, you had your hand raised to make a motion, so we would go in that order.
Okay.
So
I move that any substantive reduction or elimination of academic or non-academic programs or services at Lane Community College require formal approval by the Board of Directors prior to finalization, consistent with the oversight responsibilities outlined in applicable Oregon Revised Statutes ORS 341.290 and existing Lane Community College board policies.
Point of order.
Point of order, Julie?
Isn't a policy motion that has extensive quoting of Oregon statute, extensive quoting of policies and administrative activities, a practice of this college and a policy of this college that any proposed changes to any policy has to actually have a first reading. There has to actually be a proposed policy change, to simply make a motion in the middle of a meeting that changes policy dramatically is actually a violation of every policy I can even imagine. And I could probably go, if I could spend a little time with ChatGPT, find the actual quote of the policy we are violating right now. So point of order, this motion is out of order and puts this college and this board at risk. We cannot make a vote on this at all.
So, point of order taken. Jerry, you were about to say something. Yeah. Jerry, you were about to say something?
Could you rule on the point of order?
Oh, well, first, this is a motion. It has not been seconded yet. So it technically is not a motion that's in order as of right now. So, Jerry, you had something to say really quick.
I appeal your ruling, Chair.
You appeal my ruling. Okay,
I
gotcha. Based off of what I heard too, this is a second point to make. Based off of what I heard was that there's no change to the actual policy itself. This is existing policy, and it's an ORS, Oregon Revised Statute. And that's based off of just what I've seen in the language there, or have heard in the language. So that is, that's just what I'm hearing from the language that's in the motion. Jerry, you were about to say something else? Go ahead.
So your ruling is that it's not out of order, that making a motion that substantially changes any policy that we currently have on the books is not out of order. That's your ruling?
Well, are you saying that this does change it? Because based off of the language that was stated, by Jerry, it does not change it.
It doesn't
It's reaffirming
change our policy.
Oh, what's that again?
It doesn't change our policies.
Based off of what I heard in the language that was stated by Jerry.
Mr. Chair.
Jerry, go ahead.
I just want to have the record say that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Yeah, Jerry, go ahead.
It seems Julie has actually presented a way forward, and that is if this motion were approved, it could be considered a first reading to be brought back subsequent meeting and finalized as the final action.
Understood. Jesse, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually going to make a motion that we table this conversation. I would like that I would prefer that we have all the ducks in the row, everyone. And we table this, which is a non-debatable motion, and I'm looking forward to our voting on it.
Excellent. There's a motion to table this subject matter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Excuse me, the original motion was never seconded, which means that Jerry needs to simply withdraw his motion. If he wants to bring it back at a future date, he can request to do so.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for that.
So just for clarification, Mr. Chair, my motion is to table this conversation for future discussion.
Excellent.
Second.
So that is a motion to table the conversation. Is there, and I heard a second, but Jerry, I just wanted to confirm, is that a second?
I'm seconding. Zach Mulholland is.
Oh, Zach Mulholland seconding. Fantastic. So there's a motion to table this discussion and it's seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Excuse me, we have a round of discussion generally before we vote on motions. We have multiple people with their hands raised.
There's no discussion on motions.
So go, Jesse.
Call the question then, it sounds like. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this moved forward so we can actually talk about it in a reasonable way. Respectfully, with if we're gonna vote on motions, we need to see them ahead of time, ideally like days or weeks ahead of time. This is a very complicated discussion that I think pulls in, what is the best NWCCU guidance? What is historical practice at Lane? What is current board policy? What is our desired board policy? Let's slow down. Let's be thoughtful. And let's get all of the information that we need. So I'm very supportive of tabling this discussion. If folks want to bring it back, we can ask the background questions that we need. We've seen information related to historic board practice. I want to follow up with the president to get the college's review of what historic board practice has been and what the cutoffs are for what constitutes a board decision versus what constitutes a administration decision, going back 10, 15 years, so that we are going with historic board practice and with current board policy. Let's slow down, let's take the time to learn the information that we need, ask the questions that we need to ask, and not try and rush this. Thank you.
Absolutely agree. Yep. So with that, we have a motion to table. We have a second to table. And any further discussion?
It's not a discussable matter.
Yeah.
Sorry, we have to.
I know. I was just trying to be lenient in this situation because I know it's a difficult topic. So yeah, but that being said, we'll go ahead and move to a vote to table this conversation. All those in favor for tabling the conversation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Any abstention? Seeing none, we'll be moving on.
We will not.
May I just make a comment?
Steve, yes, go ahead.
Multiple times and haven't been called on. I just want to state for the record that I'm feeling misled this evening twice now, where when I see what I voted to approve in terms of the agenda today, when we did that an hour ago, it shows that we are reaffirming BP 4350. Normally we get a full board packet on the Friday preceding the meeting. There was some emails back and forth asking whether or not this would be put on the agenda. There was no follow-up from our board chair, at which point it became clear to me that we were simply going to reaffirm that there was no motion. But it now appears that there was an attempt, perhaps at the last minute, to put that motion on there. And we have essentially embarrassed ourselves in front of our community. And it's very unfortunate. And I would ask that our chair take on the full set of responsibilities that we've given him, and that is to facilitate an appropriate conversation with the entirety of the board to get the full set of opinions and concerns before we take a vote on such a momentous issue.
Thank you for that comment. Over the last 2 weeks, I've had conversations with the president in a collaborative way via email and various other communications about this topic and about how this has been a concern of board members. I even presented a similar language of this motion to the president. Again, I don't know why, based off of our conversations last week, why this wasn't included in the board docs to allow for the board to be able to read it sooner. I did a reminder email again that, hey, this is the motion language. And so it wasn't last minute. It was in a collaborative conversation with the president. I do not know what exactly happened there, but that being said, I am looking forward to future collaborative conversations and working with the president to make sure that this doesn't happen again. I appreciate the board's time and efforts on this conversation. I appreciate the board members who the 3 board members that reached out to me about these concerns and how they wanted to have a discussion and potentially take action. That being said, I do look forward to an opportunity to prevent this from happening again. And again, thank you, President Bulger, for working collaboratively with me on this particular topic. With that, we do need to move on to our next topic since this has been
Mr. Chair,
tabled.
I have requested to be recognized for some time.
Okay, and I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously, believe me, I wish I was in the room there, everyone. I really do. First off, before I continue though, so we have Kevin. Anybody else that would like to speak?
Yes, I would like to say something.
Oh, okay.
This is Stephanie.
Great. So, okay. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Yes. Kevin and Jerry, if you can help with keeping track of who's speaking, I would immensely appreciate that. Thank you so much. Kevin, and then Dr. Bulger. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Having not seen the motion, but having a hunch what some of the major changes might be included, I have some large concerns. Approving a significant policy change that would effectively reduce the president's authority to run the college is extremely problematic. And as Julie mentioned and has been discussed in this board, we're a policy board. We are a policy board. We govern by policy. If we delve into the operations, that is outside of our responsibility, our role, and our duties as a board. And if we did that, we would likely violate board policies 2045, 2050, 2200, 2430, 3200, 4350, 6100, and 6395. The most important Chair.
So there is a point of order. Jerry, what's your point of order?
Voted to table this discussion, and Kevin wants to keep on with it. So I'd respectfully ask that we take all this forward and have this thorough discussion.
Mr. Chair, I have one last point I would like to say.
I definitely want to hear you on this. I definitely do. But it has been tabled. And I've been trying to give you a lot of opportunities to speak. And but I do feel that in this situation, that this topic has been tabled. I do want to hear from the president because she did have her hand raised. So we will move on to President Bulger. Dr. Bulger.
Chair Fonagy, since you mentioned some interactions between the two of us, I'd be happy to outline for the board. After this meeting, I will outline for the board what actually occurred.
Okay, thank you. We are now moving on to action item C, which is the censure resolution. And I believe that a copy was sent out to the board or was given to the board.
It's being handed out now.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to make the motion.
Yes, go ahead and speak your motion.
Thank you. I'm going to read the resolution, or we need to talk about it.
I believe with the motion, you can just do the whereases and therefore, if you so choose, in the motion, or you could just do the therefores for the motion, and then you can go into the whereases in the discussion part. Does that make sense, Julie?
Yeah, I'm just going to read the whole thing.
Understood.
Whereas in March and April of 2025, the Board of Education received 4 complaints of inappropriate behavior, including allegations of race and sex discrimination. Whereas one of the complaints involved conduct of all then current board members with the exception of me, and the remaining 3 complaints involved conduct by Zach Mulholland. Whereas Lane Community College and the board authorized an independent investigation of these complaints. Whereas the independent investigation substantiated 3 of the complaints, including the complaint against the then current board members with the exception of me, and the 2 complaints against Mr. Mulholland. Whereas on September 2nd, 2025, yesterday, the Board of Education considered the possible censure of Mr. Mulholland in executive session due to the conduct identified in the substantiated complaints against him. Whereas the board provided Mr. Mulholland the opportunity to argue, explain, and defend his conduct in that executive session yesterday. Whereas on September 3rd, the board tonight, having reviewed the investigative materials, having considered Mr. Mulholland's additional statements, desires to censure Mr. Mulholland under Board Policy 2715. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education that 1, Mr. Mulholland's behavior was inconsistent with the board's values and expectations of conduct. His behavior has undermined the board's ability to govern effectively and has disrupted the professional working relationship necessary between the board and the college administration. The board recognizes the harm done to the individuals named in the investigation report. 2, the Board of Education affirms its commitment to the respectful dialogue, ethical leadership, and a safe professional working relationship necessary for all members of the college community. This censure serves as a formal condemnation of Mr. Mulholland's conduct and a clear statement that such behavior will not be tolerated. 3, the board takes its responsibilities seriously and will continue to act in the best interests of the college, its students, and its employees. 4, the board accepts the investigative report, which substantiated 3 of the complaints. The investigative report shall be posted on the college website for the period of 3 months, starting with the date of the approval of this resolution of censure. 5, the board hereby formally censures Mr. Mulholland pursuant to Board Policy 2715 due to his documented unacceptable behavior toward President Stephanie Bulger, staff, and students in violation of Board Policy 2715. This resolution becomes effective September 3rd, 2025.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. Any further, Julie, since you made the motion, any further discussion?
Yes, I have a statement I'd like to read.
Of course.
During the 8 years that I led a domestic violence services agency, I saw firsthand patterns of intimidation, manipulation, and power imbalances can undermine individuals and entire organizations. That experience gives me a unique perspective on the dynamics that we have witnessed here on this board and the impact that they have had on our president, our staff, and our students. I feel a responsibility to speak to these dynamics and their consequences for our college community. The actions that have brought us to this point are not abstract. They have been real. They have real and tangible consequences. They erode trust, create fear, normalize behavior that should never be tolerated. For our students, especially female students and students of color, this environment can feel exclusionary and unsafe. For staff, it creates doubt about whether leadership will protect them and uphold standards. And for the president, it is demoralizing to witness behavior that clearly undermines not only her leadership, but the mission of this college. These are exactly the kinds of behaviors I have seen in organizations where power is misused. Intimidation, manipulation, and control, and they have serious ripple effects. I want to personally apologize to our president, to staff, and to students for the environment that has allowed this behavior to persist. No one should ever have to question whether their dignity, safety, or contributions are respected. This board has a responsibility to prevent harm and to hold anyone causing harm accountable for their actions. Despite today's outcome, whatever the vote will be, I want to be crystal clear. I will use every resource, every voice, and every tool available to me to interrupt racist, sexist, and unprofessional behavior on this board. I will act to protect our students and staff, to uphold their dignity, and model the behaviors and standards that we claim to value. Accountability does not end with the vote that we take tonight. It's ongoing, daily work, and I will not waver in my commitment to ensure that the college is a place where everyone will thrive and can feel welcome and be treated with respect and dignity and equity. Our students and staff deserve leadership that is accountable, principled, and courageous, and I will continue to act in service of that responsibility, and I hope my fellow trustees will join me and vote to censure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Jerry, anyone raise their hand in the room?
Not that I see.
Okay.
I would like to say I'm going to vote for the motion to censure. I want to get on the path to healing, and I want Zach to achieve some form of redemption, which I think is possible. And the other thing I would say is that all of us board members are committed to taking the training to avoid any kind of sexist, racist, demeaning behavior of any kind. And we're going to put this behind us, and we're going to be stronger. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Jesse, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be voting for this. I believe it is the only right thing to do in this instance. I believe and I hope that we are never back in this situation again, because if we are, it is a failure on all of us. It is a failure on our behalf to make an institution that is welcoming and respectful to staff and students and the administration. And though I was not on the board at the time, my sincerest apologies to everyone named in these reports, to the president, to the staff, to the students, to the former student body president. I just want to make sure that we as an institution continue to hold each other accountable and take trainings and ensure that we as an institution don't find ourselves in these, and as a board, don't find ourselves rather in these circumstances again. So I will be voting for this, and I want to thank Trustee Weisman for her words tonight as well.
Excellent. If nobody else, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Austin.
Oh, okay. First off, let me just say that the censure is the highest level of a act that a board can make on another board member. So this is the board taking our role and responsibilities very, very seriously. As I said at the beginning, I appreciate the community for holding us accountable. And I also want to make it absolutely clear, President Bulger, I sincerely apologize about the events and the findings and the experience that you have undertaken through this time period. And my deepest apologies. It's a failure on all board members for this to happen. And for that, I am sincerely apologetic, and I greatly am sorry for what happened. And I look forward to the next steps in all of this, which is to go through the training, bias, discrimination, harassment, and to look for ways of self-reflection and monitoring of actions and behaviors and improving communications with Dr. Bulger. And overall, I am confident in this board to learn from each other, to grow, and to become better because of this. I thank you, everyone, for participating in this investigation. I know it was really difficult. And again, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak on this. I will be voting in support of this censure. Jerry, was there another hand before I call on the student president?
Zach wanted to speak.
Excellent. Go ahead, Zach, and then we'll move on to President Hampton. Go ahead, Zach.
I don't get to vote on today's motion, but I just simply want to say I take responsibility for my actions. I'm committed to doing better, and I realize that what's happened can only be fixed through positive actions. Words are not enough, and I'm committed to creating those, taking those positive steps to try and help this board and help the president work for the benefit of all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. President Hampton.
Hello, I would just like to thank everyone, especially Zach, for speaking up on this and speaking out for the president and in support of her. Personally, I would strongly urge the board to put policies, procedures, anything in place to ensure this does not happen again in any way possible. It's one thing to see it happen and to apologize and to move on from it, but to actively seek ways to minimize this happening again is, I think, the best course possible for the board moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Immensely appreciate hearing from students as well. Thank you. Any other hands up?
I'd like to, if everybody's done, I'd just like to make another comment if I would.
Julie.
I just want to remind the board that there was a lot of complaints in that investigative report, and they weren't all about Trustee Mulholland. They included you, Chair Fulnegi. They included other members of the board who have spoken to that. It can't be ignored or overridden. The comments that were in those reports are public. People referred to them in the meeting tonight. It is I'm not sure how we broach the whole idea where two members of the board, a past chair and a current chair, don't believe that the president and CEO of this college have a voice at the table or have any contribution to make to the board. It's appalling to me. And I don't want to lose sight of that in this censure and our responsibility that we just wash over this, that it needs to be brought back up. The board needs to address it as a whole. I respectfully ask you, Chair Fulnegi, to spend some time in self-reflection, as you just mentioned, and come back at a different meeting and address the complaints that were made of you, because your apology was not an apology either. Zach's apology was not an apology either. It didn't take accountability. Pretty much it was like, I'm sorry you felt that way and those things happened to you. Google it. ChatGPT will help you write a nice, acceptable, reasonable, apology that holds yourself accountable. So I'm just going to call it out. I mean, I don't want us to ignore this. I don't want it to go away. It can't be whitewashed. It can't be minimized. This was egregious behavior that can't just simply say, we'll learn. I still strongly believe, Trustee Mulholland, that you should resign, that your continued presence on this board is a reminder that this is behavior that we have essentially condoned. And so I just want to go on record by saying that. And I'm pleased to hear that we will have votes for censorship. Thank you, or censure rather.
Thank you, Julie. And just to briefly respond, I really appreciate you saying that in regards to opportunities for self-reflection and so forth. One thing I would just note though, I did not, so I've had a chance to request the recording of my interviews, which this report summarizes. It summarized that I stated that, and again, I'm not trying to diminish anything here, just purely making sure that the facts are straight, because our attorney stated that these are not direct quotes. These are summarizations of the interviews. In listening, and when I saw the summarization, I was confused. I was like, whoa, did I really say that? And in listening to the recordings, it was not said in that manner. I did not say that the president did not have a right to speak. It was not, I understand to a certain degree with summarization that things are lost in translation. That being said, this is still a failure on my part as a board member to for these actions to have happened. Like you said, multiple board members are implicated. But I just want to strongly encourage people that using that as a direct quote is inaccurate. And but that being said, I am supportive of this censure. I'm supportive of my role in this and looking for ways to learn and so forth. I am sorry if that did not seem like an apology. I failed as a board member. That's what happened. And I am sincerely, I'm very apologetic of that. I am saddened by that. And I hope to grow from this, because we don't learn from our successes, right? We learn from our failures. This was a failure on my part. And for that, President Bulger, I'm sincerely sorry that this happened. Any further discussion or any further comments? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor
Roll call,
of the...
please.
There's a call for a roll call vote.
Yes, please.
Nicole, thank you so much. Nicole, will you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Alltucker,
Yes.
Austin Fullnagy,
Yes.
Jesse Maldonado,
Yes.
Steve Mattal,
Yes.
Jerry Rust,
Yes.
and Julie Weisman.
Yes.
All right, that has passed. Once again, thank you for everyone for your participation in that. We're now moving on to discussion items. First item is the FY26 budget update. Dr. Bulger.
Yes, given the lateness of the hour, we certainly would like to go over this slide deck. It was in the board packet, and so all of the board members did have an opportunity to take a look at that. But we do want to, for the public and for all of our employees here as well, go over this. So, Bakara, if you could take just a few minutes to do that. And we will talk about this report. We'll give you that opportunity. I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah. So what you have in front of you is a summarization of what we are recapping, what our fiscal year 26 budget was when we left our budget committee, and then the decisions that we've made correspondingly to that, to the fiscal year 2026 budget, and then a tentative timeline. So I'll try to move through it quickly and then get you out of here as soon as possible. So next slide. This is just a quick reminder, when we originally submitted our budget to the budget committee, that was our proposed budget. After conversation, it was a deficit spending budget. That was not where we wanted to be with our budget committee, so we proposed this sustainable budget. As a note, that's where the $3.5 million was removed from our general fund expenditure budget, and this was to sustain in year what we expect to receive in revenues is all we get to expend as expenditures. So deficit spending would be, we're spending more than we project to bring in revenues for the year. So we are projecting for fiscal year 2026, based on this revised budget, to be, our ending fund balance stays intact from 25 to 26. Next. This is also a reminder, same time we talked about this, we have an uphill battle coming for a 4-year plan, which includes 26, 27, 28, and 29. We have about $3 million each year we need to reduce from our expenditure budget, assuming all things stay on track with where we've projected them to be. And of course, we'll reevaluate that from year to year to year. But that is the path that will get us back to the 11% ending fund balance, which is vital for us to get to. So I just want to keep reminding everyone, this is really a 4-year path to get us on track. No.
Would you prefer questions at the end, or?
Sure. If it's wherever, now's good. That's fine if it's on this slide.
It's on this slide.
Sure.
So, you know,
You might want to speak in the mic.
Thank you. For me, there's a little bit of a disconnect that I think perhaps we could rectify. On the note, right, says that
that there's a $3.2 million reduction year over year over the next 3 or 4 years. But just in absolute terms, we see the budget rising by about the same amount. And I'm sure that there's a clear explanation for it. So my guess is it's something like, a reduction relative to where we thought we would be, given the growth that we expect over that period of time. But I just think that it's confusing for board and, the community members to sort of be told we're going to get a $3.2 million reduction next year, year after that. And the actual budget is rising by roughly that amount.
And that's a fair question, because it's not as simple as it sounds, right? What we presented to the board in March was a 4-year projection. Based on the 4-year projection, which includes increases in revenues, and then based on our expenditure pattern of history, which is where we're saying we traditionally are spending 2% more than we are bringing in revenues every year. So that's slowly depleting our ending fund balance year to year. We expect to bring in more revenues year to year. We'll have increase in revenues for, if it's tuition, FTE for students, property taxes, things will increase, so we will have that. But based on what we have done every year, we will still outpace that in expenditures. So in order for us to sustain that, keep doing what we need to do, we have to thoughtfully still go through a reduction. So based on that 4-year projection, we're saying we have to reduce that by $3 million a year. Still increasing, but reducing the increase, right? Does that make sense?
It does.
I mean, not confusing at all.
Yeah, nonetheless, I think we could probably find a way to, state it in a way that's just that much easily more digestible for not just board members, but the community at large.
Yeah, good point. Okay, making a note. The next slide, unless there's questions on that. Yeah. So this is the plan that we had presented to the budget committee that was approved by the board, who's part of the budget committee, and then unanimously moved on. These are what I'm going to refer to the buckets that we have proposed. So we have the manager's benefit savings, that was $180,000, that was proposed. Programs and services, the $675,000. IT operational alignments, $225,000, and we had position freezes of $648,000. To get to the $3.5 million that was reduced, mind you, and this is just an important note, we put $1.7 million into the contingency account for vacancy savings. So what we had presented is generally as we go through, we budget positions at July 1st being filled to June 30th, but we know through attrition it's about 2% that we don't fill. So the budget committee with the board had moved that to the contingency count. The caution I'm just going to always keep putting in there is that it's just based on attrition, and we cannot guarantee attrition. So it's something we have to be really thoughtful for, and it's a really challenging budget situation. So just always going to keep that note in there. So on this particular sheet, the red items are the things I've added that were a change from what was presented to the budget committee, just so we can total that. The total mitigation amount after we got to July 1st was still $1,080,000. That includes those 3 buckets, the $180,000, the $675,000, and then the $225,000. Those together make up that $1 million. Position freezes, we had that long list, we talked several times for those who were here about a long list of vacant positions. We had already reduced those by $648,000 by July 1st because we needed to know what positions we weren't going to continue forward with. So that was already taken care of. So what our task was, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is a lot from July 1st till now September to come up with $1 million. So that's where we're at now. So I'll pause that if there's questions. I'm trying not to go too fast, but okay, next. So we appreciate the board came with we had a consultant. We went and sat down and talked about the values of the board and then the priorities of the board. And this is a really summarized slide of the top in priority order what the board gave us. So the values are what we really are focusing on. Fiscal sustainability was number 1, which is kind of the fundamental of what we're doing. Second was student success, so students are priority, and then staff and faculty, and then was community responsiveness. So those are the 4 categories as we looked at. Of course, everything had to do with fiscal sustainability, but then we looked at that as we went through this task. So your priorities, very similar, but student Students were first. Fiscal sustainability with increased revenues, if we can find those. The challenge would be we need ongoing increased revenues, not just one-time influxes. Health and wellness, and then community engagement. Okay, next. So we took that was a very core lens that we used, but what the other areas we also needed to look at is, of course, the legal requirements. We passed a budget, the board passed a budget, they adopted it, it's $3.5 million more than what we knew we had, so we have to go back to the drawing board to comply with law. We have the president's goals, which she'll bring up in the next one, but still has fiscal sustainability as one of our core goals, enrollment. So we focused on all of those. Students are always a priority. Went through the board values really quickly. The guiding principles in our budget document, if you don't have the budget document or need a copy, there's a guiding principles page on like page 3. That was a core of when we built our budget and everything, we look at that. And then we also use data-informed decisions, which I want to include in that is all of our contractual requirements with both of our unions. We have to look at all those things, what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, and we also want to make sure we're being very thoughtful strategically as we move forward through this process. Next. So overall, our 2026 plan, the goal was first to keep a lens on what students, the impact to students. We also wanted to put minimal staff impacts on this particular plan. And the goal would be, because it's such a quick moving plan, we didn't have much time to do that. So we went back to the drawing board, try to find minimal impacts to people, because that's really important. So what we have on here is what I call the first bucket, the programs and services. I do want to highlight the manager benefits on the last page, 2 pages ago that we looked at. We had anticipated doing like a supplemental HRA plan. We were not able to get that implemented this time. So that $180,000 has to be added to the total bucket. That's a total of $1 million. So we have to look at other areas and continue to make that impact. So as we look at this list to get to the million, first, we looked at part-time classified positions. Of course, we're going to focus on vacant positions, attrition, and do as minimal impact as we have to on there. And there's part-time classified positions throughout the college. The thing about our contracts as well is that we can't impact full-time, if I'm just being very technical, full-time classified positions without making sure we have looked at all of our part-time classified positions first, which makes sense. So that's one of the first areas we'll look at. We also have our part-time faculty pool, which has similar requirements in our union agreements, but this particular one is related to bringing part-time faculty in to fill courses. So a natural part of the college process would be, we have low enrolled courses, we won't pay for a part-time faculty to teach those courses unless we need to. Of course, we don't want to impact students, so it's not the goal of the college to go cut courses that a student needs to stay on path to graduate. That's not the plan. And there's lots of examples I'm sure we can discuss if you'd like. And the next one is a student services optimization. This is kind of an opportunity for us. We have a person retiring. We're going to have a students-focused service by combining 2 administrative positions into one in the Gender Equity and the Multicultural Center. We think it'll be good for the student to have one point of contact so they know one person to go work with. That won't require an impact to an existing staff because it's a retirement. We also have, is there a question? Keep going? Okay. We have a vacant position, so we have added over the last year or 2, we've added 7 college achievement coaches. We have one of those 7 positions vacant. It is a pilot program, so we are going to go collect the data, see how effective it is, and if later we find out that the data comes out like we think it is, and then the revenue is bouncing back a little better, we may continue to add those positions. But at this point, we're gonna pause that, see what the data looks like, and make sure we're on the right path. And it is a vacant position, so it doesn't affect staff. The other one is a gamut of operational optimizations. One is through travel savings. We're reclassifying in the fiscal area a management position to a classified position, creating some savings. And then we can reduce, we have 2 CPAs on staff now, so we believe we can prepare our own financial statements, which is a good savings, and I'm really excited. Of course, a finance person is going to tout that. So that collective plan is $810,000. So that's the first kind of bucket, because we've bucketed these. So there's that piece of that. The next page is the IT operational reductions. We do have a part-time classified position save. This position is vacant where a project is nearing the close, so they'll be able to wrap that up or have wrapped that up. We do have an existing position that is retiring where they believe they'll be able to leverage other resources to change how that work is done, and that will be minimal impact to that area, but that is also a staff retirement. And then we have IT operational alignments. We do have 2, like for example, we have 2 systems that they're using in mental health and the medical, in the health clinic. We'll be able to combine that into one, creating some savings. It will also be easier for students and staff to have one system instead of 2. And then we have other areas, and I keep using a kind of a odd example. If we have 2 different software programs that do very similar things, we may only need one. So we're going to go through and align our course catalog to be more efficient. And it also is helpful to staff not to have so many systems to maintain. So the IT operational reductions gets us to $269,000. Those 2 together get us to the $1 million. And again, just keeping a note on the bottom so we can keep the board informed. The position freezes, we already achieved that. That was finished. Vacancy savings, that is something we'll have to look at quarter by quarter to see how we're achieving that. Is there questions on that? No.
Oh, sorry. So let's just say for, as a hypothetical, that we fall short of the estimated vacancy savings. Is there sort of a contingency for that contingency?
If that were the case, you will hear from us that we have to pull funds out of the contingency account, which actually ends up coming from our ending fund balance. So let's say we can get 1.2 million. The only way to force the other 500,000 would be to do a reduction in force. So if we're not at a place we want to do a reduction in force, we would come to the board and say we need to pull 500,000 out of the contingency account, which comes from the ending fund balance, and we need to move it into our personnel budget. That's why we requested it coming to the contingency account in the event that that were to happen, because it's not a guarantee, it's an estimation. Does that answer it? Okay, so we're on to planning for 2027. Again, we have an uphill battle the next 3 years to work on this very strategically and thoughtful. So we want input, as President Bolger discussed. We want to tap into our college council. We want to tap into the college staff, the managers, the board, the community, and we want to hear input. So these are the phases that we're already working on: budget development. We'll have internal engagement and input. I just highlighted the areas where internally we anticipate staff and student input. Both of those are going to be really important. So we want to emphasize those are the areas. We have a much more detailed schedule we're working on, and we will work with our governance to work through those committees and have that feedback dialogue. What the hope would be is bringing forward a very collaborative plan, because this will take a collaborative process to be really effective. Oh, and I wanted to add these. If you have not been in the health professions building and seen the fabulous art, that's what these are from. So during daylight hours, you should certainly go see that. It looks great. These are just a few pictures, but it turned out great.
They're beautiful.
They are. They're great.
Thank you for sharing those. I don't know how soon.
It's fun stuff. Yeah. I don't get to do fun stuff right now, so that's fun. Sorry.
So what's this document?
Thank you for this presentation. It looks like there's been a lot of careful work to try and balance our budget with a minimal of negative impacts on our staff and our students, and I really appreciate the thoughtful effort that appears to have gone into this. It's very much appreciated. think I have two questions. So one's just sort of a confirmation of my thinking. If we could go to the slide that talks about the 3 million in cuts per year.
Slide 3.
Slide 3, yeah. So those are ongoing cuts. So if we cut 3 million the first year, that's 3 million in the second year and third year also. And in the second year, we have to make another 3 million cuts, and then the third year, another 3 million. So it's really, compared to business as usual, in the year 3, it's like 9 million in cuts.
Exactly.
Of cumulative cuts compared to business as usual. So I don't look forward to our task ahead of us. I very much appreciate the thoughtful efforts that have gone into the planning for this year. During the last week's budget updates that we did some sort of small group check-ins. It was mentioned that there might be some changes to the low-income dental clinic at some point. Is that still envisioned for this year, or is that something that is not included in this proposal right now?
It is not included in the proposal.
No, it's not included in the proposal, and we require further exploration on that. That's why it's not included in this.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to just getting more information about what we're doing now and how that might change in the future. And I appreciate all of your great work. Thank you.
Yes, and Julie, to answer your question, this particular document is essentially what is listed in the slides, but just a one-page sheet for both the people here and then for reference. That's
If I had
an easy-
actually looked at it in depth, I would have answered my own question, so.
Oh, I should have mentioned that, I'm sorry.
Kara, thank you. Really appreciate that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Next, we're doing the academic affairs updates. And Dr. Bulger, I don't know if you wanted to do the academic affairs and student affairs update at the same time, or what would be the best process for that?
I'd like to have
can you hear me?
all of them actually, can you hear me? To do their updates, but maybe take 2 minutes in the interest of time. And Dawn, are you going to be doing the one for student affairs? Okay, excellent. So we will start with academic affairs, move to student affairs, and then human resources. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good evening, President Bulger, members of the board. I will be very quick given the time that we find ourselves this evening. With the start of the term approaching, Academic Affairs has been preparing for the return of students and faculty. Actually, we began last spring for these festivities. In-service week begins towards the end of September, and this will provide an opportunity for faculty and staff to reconnect, share ideas, and prepare for the year ahead. So the summer is really about planning in academic affairs, and I'm very excited to announce that we have been collaborating internally to deliver faculty in service with our science faculty who participated in the Inclusive Excellent Project with Oregon State University. So we have colleagues from OSU and our own colleagues delivering faculty professional development. We started this last spring. We will start with this. The Vice President's Day is first on the 18th, and we're just going to continue that theme throughout the week. And faculty professional development will also be talking about faculty, the inclusive excellence, how to build community in your classroom, how to relate, how to build identity, which we know that in community colleges is incredibly important as we endeavor to build a community of learners. This is also really important because it directly connects with the president's goals, which you're going to be hearing next week around culture and climate and also the student experience. Thank you. And there's more. It's all in my report. You can go ahead and read it.
Thanks.
Good evening, Board of Education and President Bulger. It is my pleasure to deliver the Student Affairs report this evening in place of Dr. Joyce, who is out for a little bit. So right now in student affairs, it's all about enrollment. This summer, enrollment services teams made up of all classified professionals have been focused on one priority, and that is ensuring that students are ready to begin in fall of 2025, which is right around the corner. Our recruitment and admissions staff, as well as advising and financial aid, our college achievement coaches, testing, Center for Accessible Resources have all been supporting various campaigns and Registration Fest, and those efforts are all paying off. We have really already served nearly 400 students in July and August, and we have 2 more RegFest events planned in September, and we anticipate really great turnouts for those. Financial aid has also been active beyond RegFest with our director, Kathy Campbell, representing Lane at the National Conference of Financial Aid Administrators. This is especially important at this time as we gain more insights that help us stay aligned with emerging compliance and federal policy changes. And our college achievement coaches, we're looking forward to seeing what they're going to do this year because they've been developing some workshops that are designed to support new students, providing tools and resources so that they will be successful. Our Lane Child and Family Center has also expanded to serve children as young as 12 months with supported funding from the University of Oregon. And our international teams is going to be closely monitoring the shift in global visa environment as we finalize housing and orientation and support for our incoming international students. And we'll be welcoming them to our campus in just a few weeks as well. So the rest of the report is in your packet. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Balter, members of the board. I'm excited to talk to you about some things that have been happening in human resources and more broadly on the campus. Since we last met, we held the Classified Appreciation event on campus. It was enjoyed by our classified employees and our managers celebrating the contributions of our classified employees. We have an ad hoc campus climate group that has come together, staff from across campus organizing events to improve the campus climate. And they most recently hosted a kickoff event with our new baseball field to bring our employees there to celebrate the opening. My staff are heavily involved in the health insurance open enrollment process that happens every year. For employees in the audience who have not completed the form, please read that email. You've got to sign up or you don't have insurance. So it's really important. And then finally, I'm happy to say that our classified bargaining is back on track. We're going to be scheduled to meet next Monday to restart our bargaining, and I'm very happy to report that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, we move on to the information reports. Are there any questions or comments in regards to the information reports?
Austin, you're back on mute.
All right, can you hear me now? Great. Yeah, so just wanted to ask if there was any comments, questions about information reports. Jerry, do you see any hands? All right, none? Okay.
A through I, are there any questions about A through I under number 7? Seeing none, Austin.
Seeing none. Okay, perfect. Thank you. We'll move on to the good of the order. Any board member comments or questions?
I'd like to be recognized.
Yep, go ahead.
For our mid-month work session, I'd like to have 3 items. One, that carryover item that we talked about earlier, 4350, so-called. I'd like to talk about agenda setting process, and I'd like to talk about a review of our legal services.
Legal services. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
We have an agenda setting meeting with Dr. Balter tomorrow, and we can bring those topics up.
Okay.
Excellent. Any other board comments and questions?
There's 3 of us.
Jerry, can you help facilitate these individuals
sorry.
down here?
Yeah, Kevin.
Then me.
Kevin, Stephen, Julie.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Three things, just really quickly. Want to thank everyone who showed up tonight, especially the folks who said their support for President Bolger. I think that's just really critical. So thank you. Austin, I am curious about your thoughts of how you might have thought that reading a board statement on behalf of the entire board without consulting the entire board. I'm just curious about how you were thinking about that. So I don't want a response right now, but I would appreciate you reaching out to the board in the next day or two and explaining how that came about. And then thirdly, just a shout out to the AV folks in the back who on short notice got this room wired up and sound going and videos going. And just thank you very, very much. So appreciate it.
All right, next we have Steve, then Julie, and then I'll put myself in the queue there as well.
Other persons. Yeah, thanks, Chair. I made a promise to myself and the president as well that going forward, I would call out problematic behavior. While much of tonight's agenda and time was focused on that, I think to some extent it continues. And I'm not speaking about Zach at all. I'm speaking about our chair at this point in time. And so we had an example that Kevin just referred to where where a statement was read that none of us had the opportunity to review prior. We had what felt like an attempt to make a major policy change, even though just late last week there were repeated requests via email to bring this to a work session so that we could debate, et cetera, prior to taking a vote on it. Then it was listed in a way today where it did not seem whatsoever like there would be a motion, and yet one appeared at the very last minute. There are two allegations, I suppose, one against the president directly and another against the institution, both lodged by our chair without any consultation to outside organizations. Neither of which had any consultation with the board.
Point of order. Respectfully, Steve.
I'm sorry. Chair, this is a board comment period. This isn't a point of order. We get to actually speak on behalf of ourselves. So you'll have a moment to speak to and to respond and to comment. This isn't something where you stop him from speaking. So I'm just putting your point of order out of order.
I would also like to just friendly reminder not to do any retaliatory actions towards a board member who does file a complaint. But exactly, because yeah.
I am not. This is not a retaliatory. I'm speaking specifically on process. So to be very clear, that's what I'm speaking about. That the normal process is for these issues to be brought to the board as a whole and for us to discuss them. And so my point is only that our chair seems to be in multiple occasions now not following standard board process, and I point that out and would ask him to consider that going forward.
Were you done?
I'm done.
Can I speak? Am I recognized?
Oh, yes, Julie, yes.
So I want to thank the 100 people that showed up for the meeting tonight, and also, why are all of you guys still here? I know we have to be here, but oh my God, thanks. I appreciate the support and your interest and support of the board and LCC. So thanks for being here. It meant a lot for me. It meant a lot to the board. I think it meant a lot to the community to actually see this type of outpouring of voices and concerns on behalf of LCC. I have to kind of rise to the level of Steve's concern as well. I'll let him cover the issues that he raised. I'm going to cover some others. Having been a chair of a lot of boards, I am really appalled by the behavior or lack of facilitation of this meeting. And although I appreciate that the chair is currently on Zoom, our vice chair is the one that was elected to actually play the role of facilitator, and yet he wasn't doing that either. There are many times during the meeting where Robert's Rules of Order was not followed. There were many times during the meeting that the chair just talked about stuff that we weren't even sure what was there. So I say all that because I want to make a very formal request that the board chair and the vice chair receive training on how to be a chair of a Board of Education. That they get training, extensive training on Robert's Rules of Order, they get extensive training on facilitation, they get extensive training on how not to interrupt someone when they're talking. And I say it that way with nice little periods in between each word if I were typing it, because I am tired of being interrupted. As a woman on this board, I am interrupted a lot. In our executive session, I was interrupted 4 times by members of the board. I can't tell you how often you all talk over me. I can't tell you how often if I'm just take a pause. I mean, God, 3 seconds. I take a pause and you step on me. So I say this now, and I'm just because I'm tired. This has been a really heavy, emotional conversation around sexism and racism and misogyny and discrimination, that if I get interrupted and talked over, or you talk over someone else in this meeting, I'm going to point of order every time. I'm going to call it out every single time. I am not going to give grace any longer. I have asked you all to do it. I've told you when it's happened. You all say, oh, I didn't know I interrupted you, but yet you continue to do so. I need you to step up and actually participate as my colleagues on this board, that you have respect, that we raise our hands, that we actually talk, we have decorum. So please, chair and vice chair, get training on facilitation so that we don't ever have the mess of the meeting we had this evening. So with that said, thank you.
First off, thank you so much for the board members who spoke in regards to this. And Julie, when you mentioned that the first time in regards to being interrupted, and you, I think you were paraphrasing when you said this, that you were used to being interrupted in our board meetings. I took that very seriously, and I'm looking for ways to make sure that that is prevented in any way, shape, or form, and so forth. And I also apologize that that's been happening. And I continue, and I say that now, that I'm sorry that that has happened. It shouldn't happen. Neither should, disrespectful conversations or comments and so forth. I've had some of those directed towards me, so I empathize with you, Julie, in regards to that feeling and so forth. In regards to the statement that was read previous today, I've been working with our legal attorney for the last 2 weeks to get some legal advice and legal counsel in regards to one of the next steps that was requested of us, which is found in the complaint findings document, which was that that a public apology to Dr. Bolger on behalf of the board. I've emailed Christy about this multiple times over the last 2 weeks of, hey, can I receive some counsel? Can we meet? Can we talk about how do we fulfill this requirement? She finally sent me an email at 10:59 a.m. this morning, which essentially stated that it doesn't have to be a written one, because I was under the impression it had to be a written apology, and it could just be a statement. So I went ahead and wrote up that statement and then emailed that to the board at 11:11. When you said that you never heard of this or knew about this statement, I was kind of in shock, to be honest, because I emailed this out at 11:11 today, this morning. Apparently, it did not go out. I will say I've had some problems with the LCC email recently. More concerning one has been in regards to constituent emails, like coming to me. It goes into my spam instead of like into my inbox, which especially during this time period was very concerning to me because I want to hear from constituents. I want to hear from people, especially around the topics that they were discussing. I went ahead and apologized to those who received a very, very delayed email that because they went to the spam folder for whatever reason. And yeah, so I responded to those and so forth. Apparently, this email that went out at 11:11 did not get to you. That, no excuses. That's a failure on my part. That is a failure on my part. I could blame technology, I can blame this email and so forth, but I should have followed up with everyone too, because I was asking for ideas, edits, and so forth. So I appreciate you bringing this up as a concern. While we were in this board meeting, I was even researching, wait, what happened here? Apparently that email didn't get sent out to you all. I'm really sorry about that. I wanted this to be a collaborative experience with the fellow board members. I can imagine the shock and awe that you've experienced. And for that, I immensely apologize. That was not my intent. My intent is to speak on behalf of the board in collaboration with you all, comments that you've made in public, and also just the overall intent of the board itself. So that's what I have to say in regards to that. And again, I sincerely apologize, Kevin, Steve, and Julie, who mentioned that they did not see that prior to me stating it. Any other board comments, questions? I just want to reference, next we'll move on to future meeting dates. Our next meeting date is a work session September 17th. Our next regular meeting for October is going to be September 30th to respect the holiday season. And so September 30th will be our October meeting. And we'll move on from there. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.